Hey everybody, it's Chad with Nobody Else's Auto. It is 7 o'clock Sunday evening. Time for Sunday night live chat. Got an exciting evening yet tonight, so we're going to give everybody a few seconds to get their notifications and know that we are on live so that we can get rolling here shortly. As always, on two formats tonight, Facebook and YouTube, keeping an eye on both those formats as we go through here. I try to hit the go live button at the same time so we have comparable lag times because we do seem to have 8 to 10 second lags on most of these when we do it. Norma's on with us. Looks like Facebook is now connected. Alex from New Hampshire's on. Eloy made it tonight, so good crowd jumping on already. Still trying to learn this new Facebook format thing over here. The feed is different from what they used to give me. James is on. So Lee from New York, one of our regulars, is back as well. Lots of familiar faces, as always, jumping on. David W. is here. And let's see. Looks like things are ticking along on Facebook as well. Jason's here. Bill Alderman's on. Pete's on. Bill Wagaman's on. Watching from the All-Star race. glad you made it on with us anyway. Dennis is here tonight. And let's see. Trying to keep up with this Facebook thing since it's been changed a few weeks ago. Mike's on with us. Nose has been bothering me here just right. Of course, right before I got on, I was fine till about a minute and a half when we went on. Tweedledee made her back tonight. And let's see. Looks like everything's ticking along. So let's go ahead and get ready to get started. As always, please check your comments before you hit send. If autocorrect made it all wonky, and I can't make it out, I will skip it and move on to the next comment. Sometimes comments get going here pretty quickly, and if I can't make it out, I'm going to skip it and move on. Bud's on tonight, as well as Chris. Jason's back with us. Not even going to try to pronounce that name before. So, if you're on the Nobody's Show page on Facebook, I cannot see those comments. This is a shared video to the Nobody Show page on Facebook. If you want to comment, play trivia, participate in the auctions, you will need to be on the Nobody Else's Auto Facebook page or the Nobody Show YouTube channel. Those are the only two sets of comments I can see. So please remember, if you're on the Nobody Show Facebook page, I cannot see those comments. James, Sunday night's the only night where your old lady can ask if you're drinking with nobody and you're hanging with nobody. That's true, James. I never thought about it that way. You can't get in trouble because you're hanging out with nobody. That's a good point. Joe from Indiana's here. Number one made it. Brian Dispatch is back. 100% mentally, but 75% body. But at least Brian's back after he got kind of busted up, falling out of a trailer. So Chris is on. Big Job made it back. Kim's here. Glenn from Minnesota. Kevin from Houston. Amy's on. Let's see. Looks like a good chunk of the gang's all here again, so to speak. Tom is on Facebook. Steve from Vermont's on Facebook as well. And we just will get started. I know Jason's on here. He's ready to go. He's already got his mugs out. So we just will get the Hudson Badger rolling for tonight. So anyway, please remember that on the Nobody Show Facebook page. As always, trolls, you guys are great at taking care of them. I appreciate that. I'm going to ignore them. They're trying to get my attention. You guys make sure that they know that they're not welcome and get them reported. I appreciate your guys' help on that with trolls as well. Dad's on tonight. Alec, going to watch the latest video later tonight. Okay, that's cool. As always, if you want to share it with your friends, throw a share out there on Facebook, pass it around with your friends, get them on with us. Always appreciate the super chats as well. You guys are great, and it's a lot of fun hanging out with all of you. So let's see. All right, lots of comments popping up. Let me catch here. Bill Arden, recovering from Meekum, great auction. Number one, the only place you can drink with nobody and not be alone. See, the number one agrees with me, James. That's actually a pretty good one to go with. So Bill says everybody hit the like button. That's right, James. We are filling up quick on YouTube. Facebook's always kind of wonky anymore as far as what we do or don't get on Facebook. So let's see. Tony's on. And it looks like we're getting caught up here on comments. So anyway, we'll keep this rolling. We'll get you guys going. I know Jason's ready to go. So, and James says he's drinking with nobody, so we'll drink with nobody. But anyway, what else is going on? Obviously, we just brought up Mecum already. That was one of the things we wanted to talk about tonight, so we just will go ahead and get going with it. I looked at Indy a couple times. We didn't go again this year. Just didn't work out. We didn't go last year or this year. We went the 2 years prior to that. So we would have gone, I don't remember when we went, 19 and 20, I think. Yeah, 19 and 20 we went to Indy. It is a great auction. There is always a ton of cool stuff there. So it's always a great sale. This year I kind of kept an eye on things. Just checked it 3 or 4 times throughout the week. For the most part, it seemed like throughout most of the week things were looking a little more realistic. Obviously you can't see the cars by looking at the computer. But when you look at the more average type stuff, more realistic stuff, that's what those numbers looked in line with what I would have expected to see. This last couple of years, you just look across the normal average stuff and the numbers were just didn't even seem to make sense. Number one, anybody see the 55 Chevy hardtop BW posted? No, I didn't see that. Rusty, I only drink alone or with somebody. So, Mike, the AMC Rambler forums have been having a lot of talk about the Mecum sale. Everything that some AMCs and Ramblers sold really well. Yeah, there was a nice, very nice AMC collection. One of each of the Scramblers, some things like that did real well. Some Pacers and Grammys that did really well. Don from Nashville got on with us on Facebook. So, yeah, there was some AMC stuff that did really well. That, so there was strong on some of that stuff. Brian Dispatch said, big job. Don't fall out of your Pete. That's what he fell out of, was a 18-wheeler storage box. So that's what got Brian busted up. But, and then obviously, and when we got into Friday and Saturday, which you kind of expect, you saw some crazy stuff, which, that's why they built up to the big stuff on towards the end. Absolutely. Scott's on Facebook. Alec had a massive car show swap meet yesterday. Working on getting us known in the Northeast. Thanks, Alec. Appreciate that. Let's see. Sam, another day, another easy rider. Pete, Chad, my wife passes through the living room each Sunday night where you're on the 65-inch. And I guess she just walked through when we did this, and she said, well, I want to know why I'm so proud of the Hudson badge. So that's actually pretty funny. So we got Pete's wife's attention with the Hudson badge. Let's see. All right, looks Bill Alderman badges, they're drinkable liquid gold. Yep. So anyway, but obviously then as it built up to this weekend, we did see some crazy numbers. Trans Ams, some crazy numbers on Trans Ams. There was a turbo car at 160,000, a 77 SE at 187,000. And of course, that 77 SE was a very, very high point restoration, very nice car, but still, some of the numbers we're starting to see on that stuff is bonkers. Sebastian's on with us. X-Ray, I'm not drinking alone. I'm drinking with all of you. Kelsey's on, so. But like I said, you can always go back through and check out a lot of those results from this week. There's obviously a ton of them from 8 or 10 days worth of selling. But I did see a lot of stuff that did somewhat look realistic, even in the memorabilia. I saw a lot of memorabilia stuff that looked like very fair buys. So I don't know if we're starting to come back to a little bit of a reality with with the market. Robert's on, finally got enough service to get on. So Robert's on with us. But so maybe we're starting to see some adjusting in the market. Obviously we know about the last 2 years, things have just been bonkers. And we did, some good cars did bring bonkers money, but not everything brought bonkers money, which is kind of what has been happening. But like I said, it's well worth going through the results and kind of see what your opinion is and how you feel about it. But that's kind of what I was starting to see, both on the memorabilia and the cars. And is it the fact, the gas prices? Is it the fact, the market's been in the tank the last couple of weeks? Anybody that follows the stock market, it's been, terrible in the last few weeks as far as, it just isn't recovering yet. Everybody, kind of figured you'd start seeing some bumps and things like that. And it's just not recovering. I'm actually kind of watching some stuff that every day trying to see if I should buy or if it's going to go a little bit lower before I jump in on a few things. So, you know, Ford's taking a beating because of the Rivian deal and stuff like that. So I think there's going to be some buys in the stock market, but I think that maybe might be scaring a few people as well. So Rico and Jess are here tonight. Kenny's on with us. Bill missed what Andretti's race car sold for. I don't remember either. The Smoky Unit Vega did good money, says Bill Wagman. I didn't see that one either. But there again, there's so many cars on there. You flip through and kind of, if something catches your eye, you look at it. But that's why I always kind of say, you know, that it's well worth spending a little bit of time and going through the results just out of curiosity to see what's happening in the market. Let's see. Mike from New Waverly, Texas is on. So, James, I'm slow tonight. A shout out to Heather. So, I'll try to keep this a little closer so we keep it rolling. So, it sold for $2 million, Rusty says. So, but like I said, be curious to see what happens. Actually, I think, Tulsa's next, and we do plan on going to Tulsa. So, if any of you guys are going to Tulsa, you know, keep that in mind. We are going to try to make Mecum Tulsa. Definitely want to go down and see my friend Doug Prey at the Auburn Cord Duesenberg factory. Talked to him again the other day. Love going to visit the Auburn Cord Duesenberg factory and see what they've got going on in their restoration facility, because there is always cool stuff there. If you didn't catch any of those videos we did there last year, you've got to go back and check those out as well, because there's a ton of cool stuff there. I mean, stuff you just don't ever see is what they're doing. So Mecum Tulsa is, I believe, the next one, and we are planning on going. So if any of you guys are planning on going to Mecum, or you're close to it, something to consider, and keep me in the loop. Maybe we can catch up there a little bit while we're in Tulsa at the auction. So what else has been going on? Went to another swap meet Friday, Hutchinson, Kansas. A small swap meet at the state fairgrounds. A solid little swap meet. It's been going on with for several years, actually. Sebastian, I'm friends with the grandson of E.L. Cord. That's pretty cool. Jess, swap meet in Lathrop, Missouri, June 3rd and 4th coming up. So if you're anywhere near that part of Missouri, keep that in mind. But the Hutch swap meet, like I said, I don't know how many years I've been having it, 10, 12 years, maybe 15 years. And it's a really solid little swap meet, but they never really push it real hard, it doesn't seem like to me. But for me, it's only 50 miles. So it's not a bad run to jump down there and check it out. Chris is on with us. Happy Sunday, everybody. So Dad and I ran down to that early Friday morning and hit it, and did pick up a few things. It's just not a big swap meet. Between Dad and I, we didn't fill half the truck, so that's pretty light for us. But what I did get was a bunch of cool stuff for the auctions. So I did find some really cool stuff that we're going to have. Some of it even tonight. We're going to do some of it tonight for auction stuff, and some really neat pieces. So stay tuned here in a little bit. We're going to get to some of that once we do a few more things. But like I said, they actually do two of those swap meets. They do a spring and they do a fall. And like I said, every year it's just a solid little swap meet. It doesn't seem to get any bigger. And it doesn't seem to get any smaller. I think it's got potential. I mean, it's a solid deal because they've been having it for so long, and a lot of people know about it. I don't know if they just don't push it hard enough. I know it's difficult to try to find something about it online. Even when I know when it's coming up and looking for it, it's a little difficult to find information about it. But like I said, for me, especially only being 50 miles away, it's well worth going to. I wouldn't want to drive 5 hours to get to it, but with being 50 miles away, it's definitely worth checking out. Tweely D, lost us for a minute, but you're back on. Good. Bill, nice Pinto wash video. Makes you see red. Yep. That's right, Jess. That is a pretty light load for us, for sure. Kim's got to bail off. Glad you made it in for a while. Jess says they are going to Hutch in the fall. So Kevin says, how's Dad's ankle healing? Coming along. It just a slow process when they do that kind of work. But he's to the point now where he can put some weight on it and walk a little bit without crutches. He can't take off on a sprint, but he can go short distances, without crutches, and just has to be real careful about it. So still going the right direction at least. So that's a positive sign. Let's see. Sebastian says that's a clean Pinto. Yeah, it is. Alec, we'll get to that here in just a second on the item behind us in the shelf. Yeah, I hope a lot of you caught the Pinto video from the other night. Nate, shame there wasn't more vendors in Hutch. People just wanted to buy. Wasn't much to buy. That's right. We did get to see Nate there, so it's always good to see Nate and his kid hanging out at the swap meet. So, but like I said, it's a solid little deal. It just doesn't get any bigger. It doesn't get any smaller. But I think it has the potential. Maybe it'll start gaining some ground. You never know. Jess says ankle will probably take 6 to 9 months to heal. I'm sure it will. And then they got to go do the other one this winter after this one's healed. So. Glenn, anybody need big block Chevy stuff in Minnesota? If anybody needs big block stuff in Minnesota, Glenn's got some stuff. That's right, Kenny. Yep, still going the right direction. Pete, is it cold in Great Bend, 55 in northwest Arkansas? It was not. Actually, today it got pretty warm today. It was cool yesterday. It got pretty warm today. But Zach made it on Facebook. But no, the Pinto's a neat little car. Runs it. It is running and driving now. I buffed it out last night. I washed it again today. I'm going to wax it. Get the inside cleaned up, and it's just about ready. It's going to go on the market here probably within the next week or two. So if any of you guys know anybody that's in the market for a super cool little Pinto wagon, 69,000 actual miles, original sales receipt is still in the glove box, about as unmolested as it gets. I'm sure you can see in the video that, all 4 original hubcaps. The right front fender needs some work, is really about the only physical damage to the car. But like I said, it just, to find some, obviously most Pintos nobody cared about, nobody kept. They smashed them all. I mean, this car is just unmolested little time capsule. So, and they're not super crazy popular cars, but there's still people out there that think they're cool, and they're again finding a good, especially a good, this one that's that unmolested in this condition is really tough. So definitely want to check out the Pinto video if you missed it. Plus, I'll have the next Pinto video up here hopefully later this week. I'm gonna get it waxed, and then we'll do a video of it running and driving, and do a good full walk around on it here soon. So Bill Alderman, Dallas Fort Worth swap about even outnumber of vendors, though attendees have increased. Glenn says it's an awesome little Pinto. Yeah, it is a neat little Pinto. It's going to be a great addition to somebody's collection here in the very near future, because I really thought about keeping it, but it's like, I can't keep everything. So this one needs to go down the road. Jess says I should keep the Pinto. That's a badge. You can come buy the Pinto, Jess. It'd be a cool little one for your collection. So big job. You're watching that Pinto like you're going out on a date in it. Pete, is the interior good? Yes, the interior is good. There is some wear on the driver's seat, of course, on the edge where you get in, but that's it. I mean, headliner's nice. The rest of the seats are nice. It's got some super cool keep on trucking floor mats in it. Oh yeah. But yeah, the interior is really nice. It's got this little tiny dinky dome light about this big, right above the windshield. It still works. So it is a neat, very unique little car. So, but like I said, we'll get, Jason says raffle the Pinto. We'll get, what engine is it? It's just the basic 4-cylinder, whatever size 4-cylinder Ford had in that year. And an automatic. It's just a 4-cylinder automatic is all it is engine wise. So, but, it is cool. And like I said, I toyed with the idea of keeping it, but it's like, you can't keep it. I buy so many cars, there's no way to keep them all. So it can go down the road. It's going to be a great piece to somebody else's collection, and just a neat little car. I definitely can see that car getting an engine swap. It's kind of weird. One thing it doesn't have is exhaust. It's got the catalytic converter still on it, but the center pipe, the muffler, and the tailpipe are gone, and I don't have any idea why. But so if somebody wanted to keep it in that configuration, it's going to need exhaust. The tires are old because the car's been sitting for 10 or 12 years, but they're brand new. So, I mean, I wouldn't drive to Tijuana on them, but, if you were to putt around town, they're probably okay, because all 4 tires look literally brand new. So, and really it didn't take much. Put a battery in it. Engine oil was full and clean, had to top off the transmission fluid. Hit it with a little prime gas and it fired up. I had one rubber hose leaking on the fuel system, so we replaced that one rubber fuel line, about a 6-inch piece of rubber fuel line. Took care of that leak, and the little car runs pretty good. So that's right. Zach says 0 to 60 eventually, and that's about right with that thing. But it's still cool because of the condition. The unmolested condition is so cool. Big job. Son just landed in Oregon to do more pictures for Harley now. That's cool. Jay says, auction the Pinto. Nothing bad. So I don't know. It's a neat little car, but it's going to be ready for the market here soon. I said I'm not going to put exhaust on it because there's at least a 50-50 shot that car is going to get an engine swap. So, I don't want to just do all that stuff to have somebody pull it off and throw it away. When the car runs and drives fine, it's not extremely noisy, but it's a little loud. It's got the catalytic converters on it. It's not like it's running straight pipes, but it's a little louder than it should be. Alan didn't seem finally made it. But anyway, Alec was asking about this. So let's talk about this real quick. I got to get up to get it because it's cardboard and it's weak. But how much are you asking for the Pinto? I don't know yet because I'm not done with it. It buffed out pretty good. I want to wax it. I need to get the interior cleaned out. I need to make sure I don't see anything else weird inside of it that alarms me. So things like that until I get it, because like inside I haven't even vacuumed it out or anything yet. I've looked it over, but until I get it sucked out, I need to go drive. I've driven it around the block a few times. I need to go drive it a few more times and make sure that everything's acting normally. So yeah, I mean, if you want to give me a shout in a few days, bud, I'll have a lot better idea on what I'm going to want for it. So, but this piece here is GM Accessories Child Guard Rear Door Safety Locks. So I don't know how well you guys are going to be able to see this. This is a cardboard stand. This one keeps wanting to fall off. We'll just leave it off for the time being. GM Accessories Child Rear Door Safety Locks. These are all brand new, full boxes. Across the top, it says fits all 62 and 61 GM cars and compacts. Somebody wrote and plus 63 on this, probably in 1963, because they still had a whole card full of the dumb things and they couldn't get rid of them. So they marked that it would fit 63 as well. Prevents children from accidentally opening the rear doors. Quickly replaces regular lock buttons. And let's see, what else does it say? Two-door security for your children with four-door convenience. Now the back, Bill says check under the seats. Yeah, Jess says it's cool. It is a neat piece. On the back, to set up display, it just gives you the instructions on how to set the display up on the back. And it has a little picture of it basically looks like they replaced the knobs on the door locks. But let's open one up and see exactly what they look like. Since this one wanted to fall off, let's see if we can get it open without destroying the box. Even the little boxes are cool. GM Child Guard Rear Door Safety Locks, GM part number, GM Accessories boxes. Listed a sale price on the display. Nope, they didn't have it. They had a spot for it, but it didn't have the price on it. Right here was supposed to be where the price was at. This one is blank. But let's see what's in it. Kenny, hey, honey, we need to stop. Bobby just jumped out again. So that's basically, here's what's in the box. Let's get, drop something. Oh, okay. It has, I don't know what it's got, actually. Yeah, that's kind of about all it entails. Had like a rubber bushing, and I would assume this went like on the top edge of the door panel. And then it had these little deals. This is like an escutcheon that probably went, where the little trim ring would have been on the door panel. And then it had these little smooth door locks so you could kind of push them down and you couldn't be able to get a hold of them. Now, if we look at the illustration on the display, it shows using your car key right here, the tip of your car key, to open them or to unlock them. And these have a slot. You can see that little slot where your car key would go. Bill Alderman guessed about $5. Big job. My uncle went out the back door in the early 60s as a kid. Just thank God I only had a couple of scrapes. So it looks like this actually has an Allen head screw to set it on the shaft, and then you used your car key, as per the illustration, the tip of your car key to pop them up. See what the paperwork says. Rear door safety lock instruction sheet, Chevrolet, Corvair, and Chevy. So had all the instructions with it even. So that's what it is. Kind of a different little piece, but thought it was kind of a cool piece to put up there for the display tonight. Now I got to try to put all this stuff back in here, so I'll probably have to do that later. I don't want to keep you guys all hung up. Pete says, cool design, never saw those. Alec digs it. So, yeah, that's what it is. Child guard rear safety locks. I will pick all this stuff up a little bit later. Our tour fiddler just got in from a trip to a small local swap meet and then to the junkyard. So, there it is, the child door guard lock. I'll put this one back together a little later when you guys don't have to sit around and wait for me to do it. We'll put this back up on the shelf so you guys can admire it throughout the rest of the show. But there it is, child guard rear door safety lock, new old stock display from the early 60s, original GM accessories. Who's thirsty? Okay, one other real quick thing I want to go with you guys real quick before we get to badges and auctions. Robert, I get a Marty report on the Pinto? Nope, I didn't get a Marty report on the Pinto. I don't think anybody's ever messed with it, so I think other than the aftermarket radio, it's pretty much exactly as it came. Sebastian, you had to pay extra to protect your kids. Yeah, no kidding. One thing I want to throw out there at you guys, and we'll talk about this over the next several weeks because I want you guys to think about it before we do it, is I've been talking about it for a long time about doing some sort of a course or something to kind of help teach you guys, some of you guys, if you do want to start doing some swap meets and looking for parts and making a few bucks on the side, how I do things, step by step, how I find stuff, how I buy it, how I haul it, how I sort it, how I store it, how I ship it, how I package it, how I take it apart, how I market it, how my shipping accounts are set up, things like that, how I get boxes, all those details. I thought of another way to do that, and even Mike Gowns, my buddy that was a digital media expert, him and I talked about it a little bit. Now that over the last couple of years, YouTube has built a new outlet called memberships, where you can actually join a specific group or a subgroup of the channel on YouTube, and there is a monthly fee associated with that. However, with that monthly fee, I'm going to be teaching you how I make money to hopefully help you make extra money on the side as well. So I really, really think that there's a good potential for this, but it depends on if any of you are interested. I'm going to bring this up for the next several weeks to see if it's worth doing. I welcome your feedback. If you are interested in doing what I do, and maybe even, obviously not, even if you want to get as big as me, or if you just want to make a few bucks on the side, make an extra couple $100 a month, think about this. I've already got it all built, actually. I built all of this stuff, a couple of years ago. I've got my Nobody's Course file here. I've got a lot of notes made on this stuff. Inventory, transport, hauling, storage, processing, prep work, marketing, even from advertising, how I take pictures, payment, shipping, boxing, packaging, shipping companies, issues, things like that. And then, even after we go through that stuff, the long-term effects, how does this continue going? Well, there's always going to be stuff to talk about in this market as the market shifts, as things change, as trends change, as reproduction parts change, things like that. As marketing changes to eBay, changes to Craigslist, things like that, all that stuff will be a long-term project that we could all work on, and I, could help some of you guys make some extra money doing it as well. So that's something that I'm considering doing. I absolutely want your guys' feedback with it, and I'm very curious as to what you guys think of that. If we did it, it would be a membership deal where there would be a monthly fee associated with it. However, once you're part of that membership, you always have access to that content. So if we did a video on shipping and we talked about what I do with FedEx that night, or maybe we talk about what I do with UPS or USPS one night, and you have a question about that, you can always go back to that video as long as you're part of that membership portal and watch that video. So like I said, we've been talking about this course for a couple of years now. I really think this is a great way to do it. But I'm very curious as to, obviously I'd have to have some, I have to have people that are willing to do it if it's going to work. Big Job says it sounds interesting. So that's, and like I said, I'm going to keep working on that. I welcome your feedback. Give me a call if it's something you're interested in. And the other thing about it is if you're in the group, part of that is going to be, hey, Chad, I found car XYZ. I can buy it pretty cheap. Is it something that I can sell some parts off of? I can give you my feedback as to whether I do or don't have experience with that car, where I think the market may or may not be on that car, where the parts may or may not be. I might be able to tell you, okay, you're looking at car ABC, see if it's got this, and this, because those are the hardest to find parts on that car. If those are good and you can buy the car right, you might be able to make a few bucks off of it. Things like that. Artur, I don't like the idea of a membership. I'm on fixed income. Sebastian says, interesting. Cost, I don't know yet, because I'm in the very, very preliminary stages of this. Like I said, the course I've had built, I've been contemplating what's the best way to do it, how to put it out there. Zach says he'd be down to try it. But the other thing about it is, there's going to be a cost associated with it. But if you're going to go out and try to do something with it, you're still going to make money on it. So Mike says might be interested. Pete would like to learn more. So the cost is going to be, I don't know what it would be yet. But there would be a membership fee, but you would have access to that information. It would be a weekly deal. We would have a webinar, basically a webinar for an hour a week, going over different things. And like I said, as long as you're in that membership portal, paying your monthly fee, and you can cancel them at any time. But once you cancel, you don't have access to all that information. Like I said, if you want to look at some stuff we talked about USPS, and if you've opted out at that point, which you're totally, you can opt out at any time. Any month you get tired or don't want to do anymore, you can always drop your membership. But you don't have access to those videos anymore once you do. So let's see. Number one, you're describing Patreon. Look at Patreon accounts. Okay, that I've never heard. I'm just studying the YouTube membership part. The YouTube membership portal is what I've been looking at. Bill Wagon, teach old dogs some new tricks. Sounds interesting. Jason, sounds interesting, but finances are super tight, so cost is key. And I could see that, but the other thing about it is, if you're on here and we're talking every week, Bill, sounds pretty good. I'm in a similar program for woodworking. He'd be interested. Rusty James, sounds good. All good education has a cost. Jim, do we get a degree if we pass the class? Nate, is it kind of like the subscription thing you were doing at the beginning of your channel? No, this is a paid membership deal. It's a completely separate deal. YouTube only rolled it out a couple of years ago. It's it's not brand new, but it's a fairly new deal. But Sebastian says, I like the idea of me teaching some of my tricks. But there again, if you pull a number out of the air, say it's $50, say it's $100, if you pull a number out of the air, but you're willing to go out and do some of the work, pay attention to your local Craigslist. Maybe scope out a few ideas I give you on where to find stuff. If it costs you $50 or $100 a month, but you can go make $300 or $400 on a couple of weekends out of the month, then what's the cost? Because I'm walking you through how to do some of this stuff. Now, there is no guarantee, because unless you go out and do it, I can't help you. But if you do, there again, if you're in that membership portal, and when we have our weekly webinars, or whatever you want to call them, where I get on for an hour, and anybody that's in the portal can get on for an hour, you can literally say, I found this car. What do you think about it? And I can tell you what I know about it. If it's something I am familiar with, what to look for on it, approximate values on some of the stuff, things like that. So there will be a fee associated with it, but it's also there again, if you go out and do some of it, it should make you well more than what the fee is going to, even just going out a couple of Saturdays a month and putting, 10 or 15 things a month on eBay. So let's see. Let me get caught up on comments here. Jason says it would be a nobody's degree. That's right. Big job. There'd be a way to go back and reference information from the membership. As long as you are in the membership, as long as you keep your membership current, you can go back to anything in the membership portal, any of those videos. So if we talked about, USPS flat rate shipping or FedEx flat rate shipping in an episode, and you say, what was the deal? I got this part here. What was the deal with that flat rate stuff we were talking about? You can log in, go back to that video and watch it again. Or if you can say, hey, I found a 64 Buick Skylark. We talked about 64 Buick Skylarks a month ago. I'm going to go back and see what we talked about because I know there were some things that Chad said to look for on that car, or a 48 International, or a 76 Caprice, or whatever it is. That information, as long as your membership is current, you can go back and reference them. Now, as long as your membership is current, and there again, I did find this out last night too. If you can say you cancel your membership on the 10th, but you've paid for that month, you're good through the rest of that month. But at the end of that month, if you've opted out, then you no longer have access to those videos. So there is a lot of long-term knowledge and education that will be available to anybody that sticks with the membership and goes with it. So let me get caught up on comments real quick. Frank says, hi, Kenny. Jason, I like that. Bill Alderman, I got a busted knuckles and rusty nuts degree. Yep. Mike, I belong to one like that for barbecue and smoking. There are quite a few on that subscription channel. So, okay. Or no, like Sebastian's a 28 Chandler. Yep. That one I wouldn't have a ton of knowledge on. I can tell you that right now. Alex, that sounds interesting. So roll that around in your head, guys. And there again, cost is also going to be dictated by how many people we have. If we have 30, 40 people that want to jump in right out of the gate, that's going to change what I can offer it at versus if I'm doing it for 4 people. So we're going to keep that. I mean, I want your feedback. If you have to call me about something, or if you just want to call me to talk about that, I'll start a list. I got notes started that I made last night as I studied YouTube channel memberships, the requirements, what you can do, things like that. There will be different levels of membership. You can be a basic member for a few dollars where you're going to get special emojis and things like that. But to really get into the deep stuff, into the knowledge and how I do what I do, there will be obviously a lot more cost associated with that, but it should make you money. It should. But you're going to have to go do some work. But I don't think there's anybody on there that doesn't mind going to a swap meet or going out looking for an old car or old parts. So, but something to roll around your head. I don't want to keep going on it all night tonight because I want to talk about it over the next several weeks. But if you're interested, please call me. I'll get you on my list. I'll start a new list on my notes page as far as who is interested and see if this is a viable deal. But like I said, the course is built. The notes are here. Topics are right here. And it will be an ongoing course as things shift. Changes in shipping, changes in marketing, changes in formats with some of these websites, changes in the market, shifts and changes and trends and things like that. So it will be an ongoing deal because I talk to dozens of people a day. So I know what I'm getting calls for. I see those trends as they're building because I know what I'm getting calls for that I start watching for or try to watch for a little ahead of time. So Arturo Fiddler, do you have any 5152 Chryslers or something close like a 53 Chrysler or 51 DeSotos? I've got 2 51 to 53 DeSotos. There's very little left of them. I've got 2 51 Chryslers, 1 Windsor, 1 Imperial is what I've got in that 51 to 53 window. Highlander's back. Hope we got some good Ford stuff. I don't know if we got any Ford stuff in the box tonight or yet or not, but I'm glad you made it back. Tim from Canada's on. Jason, I'll roll that around with the other marbles. Sebastian likes the idea. Maybe a year membership discount or a quarterly monthly. And I don't know if you can do that on YouTube. If you can just join for a year at a discount, but that might be a possibility as well. I didn't see that in the notes last night, but there again, I just started digging into this last night. So I got about a page worth of notes, but I don't know if there's like a just sign up for a year and get a discount. If there is, we could absolutely work with that too. Jess says, they're interested. So Jason's interested in badges as well, like that one, I bet. So how complete's the Imperial? Not very. I've sold the Hemi out of it. I've sold the grill and nose out of it. So it's nowhere near a complete car. But anyway, that's enough of that. I'm just, the Windsor's pretty complete, but it's rough. It is intact. It still has its Hemi in it. But it is mostly intact. So anyway, we'll keep talking about that. Please, if you're interested, call me. I'll get you on the list. And we'll see if it's something we can get put together. God Monster, looking for 41 Chrysler Royal Radio Grill cover with Bakelite. Do not have anything like that at all. But Jason says 10-4, but the other ones also. Well, that's where we're heading next, Jason. We're getting ready to roll into the badge section for tonight. Starting off with a really cool little badge. Speaking of Chryslers, by the way, Bill Alderman, swap meet's part of my antiquing at my age. Got to stay on the move. Otherwise, get it tagged for sale. But anyway, give me a shout if you're interested in it. I'd love to see what kind of feedback we've got. Okay, then it's not a Windsor. It's something between a Windsor and an Imperial. Then it's whatever it is, because it's got a Hemi in it. So I just had Windsor in my head, but so it's whatever's between a Windsor and an Imperial, because it does have a 331 in it. I do know that because the car is rough. The only reason I bought it is because it had a 331 in it. But the first badge we've got for tonight, like I said, speaking of Chryslers, is a really cool one. Zach, good old 331, Mrs. 53 New Yorker. This is a really neat little Chrysler badge. And this is another badge that my Saratoga, maybe that's what it is, Arturo. It could be that. I just know it's not an Imperial. God Monster 41 Buick dual carbs. Dad had several sets of those, but I think he sold them all. I think he sold all the intakes and everything he had on the 41 Buick dual carb setups. But tonight's badge, like I said, since we're on Chryslers anyway, our tour got us on Chrysler, so let's go ahead and roll with Chryslers. This is a neat little badge, and my new favorite website, Vintage Auto Emblem or American Auto Emblems, even said this is a very rare badge. So, and they've got everything on there. So they said this is a rare badge. So I thought that was kind of cool. This is a little Chrysler badge. Super cool little piece. Real deep purple background. Alex saw a nice Studebaker badge at the car show, but it was still attached to the car. So yeah, you probably couldn't get a hold of that one. But this has this cool deep purple background to it. Now, this one has a big chip in it, and wasn't happy about that. But when I was buying all those badges from that guy, he didn't even have a good one of these. He only had a couple of these, and this, I think this was the best one. Pete says loves the color. Yeah, it may look blue on your screen, but this is actually a very deep purple background surrounding this badge. This particular one is 3031 Chrysler. Now, 27 to 29 used a very similar badge. In fact, it took me a minute to figure out which one this was when I was studying the American Auto Emblems website, because they looked literally identical. The only difference between the 27, the 29, and the 3031 is the font on the Chrysler letters here is slightly different. So it took me a second to figure out what the difference was, but that's how I determined this was a 3031 badge. This badge is 2 1/8 high. By about 1 3/4 inches. So about just over 2 tall and about 2 3/4 wide. The Chrysler part of it is actually a separate piece. It actually has a screw on the back that goes to the Chrysler part, which sucks down the purple part. You guys can see that on the screen. I don't know if you can make it out or not. Big Job says make a brooch out of that. Sebastian's trying to buy it. This one's not going to get sold. Like I said, there's just not much there. What's the white area of the badge? I assume you're talking about this. That's just a chip, Alec. It's actually kind of a copper colored, but that's a chip in the purple enamel on this one. Artur says, I think the later ones were red, not blue. I think there were some red ones, but that's what I said. This one is pretty rare, being the purple background. So Jason's trying to buy it. No, this one's mine. But, the cool thing about it, obviously we know Walter P. Chrysler was was recruited by bankers to take over the running of the Maxwell Motors Corporation, which he merged with Chalmers, which was in trouble. Walter Chrysler had previously been engaged to take over the Willys automobile business, where he was impressed by the Willys 6 car that was under development. Chrysler recruited the designers of the proposed Willys 6 to continue to develop their car and installed them in the Chalmers plant in Detroit, where the Chalmers car was being phased out. The car was introduced at the Commodore Hotel in New York City in January 1924 as the Chrysler 6. It was a high-performance, stylish, medium-priced car, which was immediately successful, and 32,000 had been built by the end of the year. This badge came out shortly after that. Like I said, 27 to 29, almost identical with the exception of the font here, this one being 3031. So this came out just within a few years after the Chrysler just started coming out. So, but Pete, do you know of a website that contains post-50 badge trim info? No, I don't. American Auto Emblems does get into a little bit of stuff into the 50s, but not much. So the God Monsters is cool color. Yeah, it's neat. So it's a cool piece. And then, like I said, I don't know if you can tell that this is purple or if it's looking blue on your screen, but it is a very, very deep royal purple, which, you know, really makes this piece stand out. At least that's what I thought. So I'll take a chipped one over none. So even though it's got the whammo in it, I'm cool with that because it's a great piece. Now let's jump forward a few decades. Yeah, you guys, that's what I was wondering. A couple comments says it does look blue. It basically is a royal purple. That's the best way I can describe it, is it is just a deep royal purple. You know, I don't know if I can get it close enough where you guys can make it out or not, but that's what it is. Now, we're going to jump up a few decades as we usually do. Now, you'll remember a few weeks back, we looked at this. The 1955 only Roadmaster grill badge, obviously most commonly seen on Jay Leno's 55 Roadmaster. This sat at an angle on the grill, just an extra Roadmaster badge that, you know, to make it stand out in gold. It was gold in color, stood out against the grill. Kenny says, that's what I like about being a nobody. It's cool history. That's cool. David W says cobalt. No, it's a royal purple more than a cobalt blue. So Alec likes the fact that it's a two-piecer as well. Well, remember we checked out the Roadmaster grill badge. While I was digging through my box, and I found another cool piece. That's also very specific to the 55 Roadmaster. Obviously, Roadmaster one step below Cadillac. I mean, that was it. If you had just, you know, if you'd made it, and maybe you'd made it, but you just didn't want to be seen in the flash of the Cadillac back in 1955, but you made it and you just didn't want your neighbors thinking you were snobby or whatever and bought a Cadillac, so you were still going to go with another Buick. You bought the 55 Buick Roadmaster. Obviously, you had the special grill emblem. Another badge that they had that was very unique to the 55 Roadmaster, completely unnecessary, no reason for it to be there, no need for it to be there, was this little badge. This actually mounted on the doors. This is Roadmaster only. No other 55 Buick used it. Right under the vent window on the front door, or on the doors of a two-door. They both used it. Right under the vent window assembly is where this mounted. This badge is 3 inches long and about an inch high. So it's about 3x1, stud mounted, and literally went right below the vent window on a 55 Buick Roadmaster. There again, no reason for it to be there. This was also gold. This one's heavily faded. You can probably we can look at the back of this though. You can see on the back where the back was, you know, pressed against the door. You can see where it was gold in color. Alec, is it a type of flag? No, it's a Buick crest. A different variation of the Buick crest. We've looked at Buick crests on here before, but we see the cross, the stag, the checkers across here. This is just another variation of the Buick crest in a different, you know, elongated wide format versus the, you know, up and down stuff we've seen from the late 30s, early 40s. So Bill Alderman, Roadmaster is class without snobbery. Yep. Altour Fiddler, as much as I like Chryslers every year from 55, they got more and more plasticky. True with other makes too, started looking better by around 1990. So, but so there again, another specific piece to the 55 Roadmaster, along with your grill badge. You got the crest on the doors below the vent windows. So there again, just kind of classy type touches without being gaudy, I guess. Just like this, the grill of a 55 Roadmaster is a big piece. It's big. It's big all the way across the front of that car. Yet this emblem is 8 inches long and, not even an inch high. This badge is 3 inches by 1 inch went on the doors. Gold in color. They were classy. They said, hey, you're driving a Roadmaster, but they could have made this thing twice as big on the grill and twice as big on the door, but it would have been garish. And that's what they were doing with the Buick Roadmaster. Classy, but stylish. And that's why these pieces were specific to those cars. That's why these Roadmasters got a little bit of extra trim here and there, just a little bit of tidbits, a little bit of extra jewelry, so that it kind of stood out as being a Roadmaster. So kind of a different piece there as well. So extra AD 57 Buicks are my favorites. I got to go with you on that too. Actually, the 57 Buicks are phenomenal. I hope you caught the video on the 57 Roadmaster I just picked up, because those cars are just love 57 Buicks. Grew up on Buicks, cut my teeth on Buicks. 50s Buicks is what Dad always did. 50s Buicks are what I know probably better than anything. So, Sebastian, the grill's like a mirror. A true fiddler. My grandmother drove Roadmaster convertibles in the 50s. Class and almost a duty for being politically correct in Flint, Michigan. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, if you lived in Flint, you pretty much had to drive a Buick. Tweet the D, older cars had artwork. Yes, they did. Eloy, that's all I've ever had. His whole life's been Buicks. So, but there again, a couple of interesting pieces. I hope you guys remember from a few weeks back the Roadmaster badge for the grill. Now the small piece for the door on a 55. Interesting tidbits, very cool pieces that were very specific to make the Roadmaster stand out. So, who's ready for some auctions? I know I am, because I got some cool stuff. I've been as I've been digging through my stuff, I'm finding cool stuff. I got some cool stuff at the Hutch Swap Meet. We're gonna have some fun tonight with auctions. So, looking forward to it. However, before we get into auctions, a little bit of housekeeping real quick. There is nobody that has bought anything on here that I got paid for that didn't get it. However, I had an issue this week with somebody that mailed a check a couple weeks ago for some stuff and then called me Friday chewing me out because they didn't have their stuff yet. Well, it took 4 or 5 days for your check to get here, and then I shipped it, and it's supposed to be there Monday. So it'll be 2 weeks from the time he bought it, and he mailed the check. And he called me throwing a fit Friday because he didn't have his stuff yet. So I'll tell everybody real quick, there ain't nobody on here that if you pay for something, you're not going to get it. Or if there's something happens, if I drop it and break it, I'm going to call you and send your money back or send you something different to replace it. But if you want to call me and jump me because you mailed a check and it's taken too long, it's a real good way to get yourself on the you don't get to play anymore list. We're all having a lot of fun on here. I knew this conversation was going to happen at some point in time. But if that's that big a deal where you're going to mail me a check and then you don't want to wait for it, then don't play. If you PayPal me as soon as we're done and you don't have it 2 weeks later, yeah, we're going to do some checking. But, I don't appreciate that. I bust my butt to try to do a good job for you guys. And I hope you guys all believe that I'm trying to do it right and I want to do it right. But I don't need that. You guys don't need that. And that's not how I want to do it. I knew that was going to happen at some point. I just figured we were going to get a little bit bigger before it happened, but it didn't. It happened. So a little bit of housekeeping. If you think that, you're more important than everybody else, that I should drop everything and take care of you, you probably don't want to play. We got too good a group of people on here right now that, none of us need to put up with people like that. So let's see. Bill says, let's get her done. Let me get caught up here. I missed a bunch of comments here. David W's dad at a 53 Roadmaster. Anthony's on. Let's see. Let me get caught up here real quick. Kenny got his stuff great. Glad it made it. Glenn says patience. Yeah, it is, Mike. It is a great group. Sorry to hear this is a good group. It is a great group, that's for sure. God Monster, 53 Roadmaster, Nailhead Large, the Nuddle models the same year. The only thing that had Nailhead in 53 was Super and Roadmaster. I think it was the same in 53. Let's see. Some of these comments are people saying hi to each other, and that's fine. I just don't want to miss anything that's relevant. David got his T-shirt, his Tire Patch Kit, great. So, anyway, real simple. I'm not going to stiff anybody. If there's a problem, you call me and we'll look it up. So, by the way, after I got back to the shop, I looked up his tracking and it shows to be delivered tomorrow. So I called him back to give him his tracking number. And I'm just sure it's going to shock none of you. He wouldn't answer his phone when I called him back. So I left him his tracking number that it'll be there Monday, and don't need the aggravation. You guys don't need the aggravation. So just work with me. I'm going to work with you. I usually ship 2 to 3 times a week. This week was a little bit screwed up because of the funeral. I didn't ship till Wednesday morning. I usually ship on Tuesday, but I tried to get everything I could done. I ran everything in the post office at 8:30 Wednesday morning before the funeral. And so I was caught up because I knew Wednesday was shot after that. We had too much to deal with on Wednesday. So that's what I did. So anyway, that's right. Big job. Nobody's gang's like a family. And if you don't like it, we'll admonish you from the Church of Iron and Rust. Shopcat, hi to all the nobodies. Jason, just remember, that's right. No problem, Jason. Maybe you'll win tonight. Who knows? You never know. Maybe we'll get a pile built up for you first. So, Nick, how far am I from St. Louis? About 8 hours, roughly, give or take, from St. Louis. Oh, yeah, you guys haven't seen that in a while. So, yeah, we better get that thrown up there, too. Apologize for that. So, anyway, I'm going to do everything I can to do great for you, and you guys work with me, and we're going to make it all going to work. We'll make it all happen, so. Anyway, let's see what we've got. I got a big full box of super cool stuff. Let's see. Oh, and one other thing, Zach, on Facebook, that red arrow shell can from last week was empty. It was already drained before the auction. And I know you paid to ship it full, so you've got $10 credit since you paid for full shipping on that, Zach. So please keep that in mind. When I got that out the box, and I realized we had already drained that one. So since you paid extra shipping, you've got $10 credit on whatever we do from here on out. So when is the raffle? June 5th. Thanks, Tweedly D. That's exactly right. Let's see. You're going to have a real beer with us on the July 3rd episode. Tweedly keeps free to send money. You still got 2 weeks to get in on the raffle. So, holy cow, what are we going to start with tonight? Cans, emblems, ornaments, toys. I got a hubcap. We got a lot of cool stuff tonight. Let's see. Where do we start at? This can's kind of a rougher can, but it'll give us a good start. Let's go ahead and get rolling. I'm going to wipe this one off a bit. It's dented up, but it still looks pretty decent. And it's early, so earlier. Let's see. What are we missing here? Everybody loves hubcaps. Close eyes and pick one. Let's start off with kind of a starter, and I've got some starter stuff in here too as well. I don't want to have the auction to be, everything it's $100 where not everybody gets to play. I got a lot of $20 and $30 stuff tonight. I've got some stuff that I think is going to do a little better than that. So, Sebastian, hubcaps, very, very good wall hangers. Yeah, the hubcap I've got tonight is super cool. I've got 2 in my collection. We hung one up here several months ago, one of mine. I won't sell any of mine, but I found another one. We're going to sell it tonight. We'll start off with. That's right, David W. Make sure your video feed is caught up. Please remember we do have an 8 to 10 second delay. We go 2 minutes when I put it on the timer. We get started. We look at it. We start taking some bids. I'll put it on a 2-minute timer. Once I start that, timer, I'll tell you when 30 seconds has gone by. I will tell you when a minute has gone by. That that once I tell you you've got a minute left, that probably means you've got 30 or 40 seconds left with the delay. When I tell you a minute 30 has gone by and you're down to 30 seconds, you've probably got 10 seconds. So please bear that in mind. Inevitably, there's always something that gets hung up in the system. So at that minute mark, minute 15, be thinking about your max bid and be ready to throw it out there. Steve, speaking of hubcaps, thanks for the 64 spinners caps. Steve came out, brought me a car this week, or yesterday actually, that we're going to show you here soon that is on new inventory. Steve had to pick up a 64. I traded him a 64 Bonneville. He needed some parts for it. He brought me some new inventory. So, but who's the blonde in the picture? That is Heather Thomas. Sebastian just changed his profile picture. I can't tell what it is. Russ tells bid fast. Jason bought 148 hubcaps for $25 a few weeks ago. So it's pretty tough to beat a deal like that. But anyway, let's get rolling. Kind of a rougher cam, but a good starter piece. The front looks cool, and it is early on a Phillips 66 premium motor oil. Dented up pretty good on the sides, but you look at it straight on the front, it doesn't look half bad. So kind of a neat piece. It is an orange Phillips. The top is punched and dented. The bottom is not punched, but dented a little bit. Nothing on the sides of this anyway. Where the dents are, there's nothing really on it anyway. Really, the only thing cool about it is the Phillips 66 premium motor oil right here on the front. I've got Alec at 15 starting us off right out of the gate on this. So, like I said, it's a cool looking can. It's banged up a little bit, but it is an earlier one. Let me go ahead and get my notes made here as we get ready. Lee's in at 20 on the Phillips can. I'm going to get my notes on my list to try to keep this stuff straight for you guys. Pete came in at 20 right after Lee. Artur, those 60s Pontiacs in your video were cool. It's good you traded. The 66. Yeah, we traded the 66 Catalina to the gal that wanted to build it for her 67. She was going to build, but wasn't really where her heart was at. Sebastian, his profile picture, his grandfather's flatbed internationally, drove in the Marines in California, called Big Bob. That's cool. Rusty Nail's a good dent guy, can fix that. Pete's in at 21. Alex in at 22 on Facebook. Let's go ahead and get this thing rolling. And we are on the timer on the orange Phillips 66. Like I said, cool look, just banged up a little bit on the sides of it. So Alec at 22 is my high bidder. Kenny Peterson came in at 22, but I've already got Alec at 22 on Facebook. Number one's in at 25. I do have this on the timer right now. Number one at 25 is where we're at. As we're coming up on the first 30 seconds. Number one at 25 is my high bidder. 30 seconds has now passed. We've got 90 seconds left on that. It does have a top in it, Sebastian. It is punched and it is dented. It says 20W20 on the top. This is metal. This is all metal. So this is an old, orange Phillips metal can. So it is an early one. It's just rough. I've got Alec at 27 right now. Alec at 27 on Facebook is my high bidder. 1 minute has now passed. Be thinking about your maximum bid. If you're going to outbid Alec, we've got 1 minute left, which means by the time you see me say this, you're probably down to 30 seconds. So, and we're coming up on 1:15, 45 seconds left. So at this point, you're probably about over if you're getting ready to get your max bid in with. We've got an 8 to 10 second delay. I've got Alec at 27 as of right now on this metal early orange Phillips 66 can. And 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. We're down to 30 seconds. Alec at 27 is my high bidder on the Phillips. Kenny's in at 28. I've got Kenny Peterson at 28 right now. 15 seconds left. Kenny at 28 is my high bidder on the Phillips can. 10 seconds left. And we're coming down to the end on the Phillips can. And we've got Kenny at 28. Kenny Peterson at 28. And Alec came in at 29 right after that. So just missed that one. David W. Air pressure will blow some of the dents out. A tour fiddler never bought a metal can. I started when they were paper on both sides. What year did metal end? I think sometime in the 70s, maybe the 60s. I'm not sure. Let me get this logged so I don't get anything screwed up. At $28. and sit that off to the side for Kenny. Even Alex says enjoy the can, Kenny, so... Let's do a newer emblem. We haven't done much of this. We do a lot of the early badges, and we've got an enamel badge to do here after a while. But Kenny Peterson at 28, number 1, was the winner. Kenny Peterson at 28 was the high bidder. Let's do so. Like I said, I'm going to try to mix some of this other stuff in. That some of the stuff I know. Some people don't want $1,500 pieces. I know guys like $20 and $30 pieces. So that's. I want to mix some of these other emblems in. I'm not even sure what this is off of. I think I remember, but I'm not sure. I found it on the shelf. But the next piece we're going to sell, and this is kind of a neat piece. It's a good-looking piece. I think the red has been repainted. But do we have any Oldsmobile fans out there? Like I said, you guys want to do different emblems, not just early badges, different emblems, different ornaments. How about an Oldsmobile Rocket? I think this is like 66, 67 Tornado, but I'm not sure. So I'm not going to guarantee that, but I think that's what it is. This is a fairly flat piece where it could be mounted on something decorative. It may have a slight curve to it, but it's pretty light. So I think you could mount this to something. It does still have the mounting studs on it. The back is still intact. Like I said, I think the red has been repainted. The chrome is really nice. Sebastian hit it at 5. I've got Alec at 15 already, though. We obviously see the rocket right there taking off. I've got Lee at 20 now as my high bidder. This thing is 5 1/8. 5 1/8 high and 1.25 inches wide. So about 5 inches high. So it's a nice piece. It's not huge, but it's not so tiny you can't see it. I got lots of bids on this thing. I've got David W. at 25 is my high bidder as of right now on the Oldsmobile badge. God Monster need 37 Olds Coupe moldings. I've got another 37 Olds bought. The only thing I've got here right now is a 6-cylinder 4-door. I've got another 37 bought, but I haven't seen it yet. It is an 8-cylinder car because the front end was in another car that I bought on the load, but I think it's a 4-door. I haven't seen it yet, but I'm guessing it's probably a 4-door, but I actually haven't seen the car. Alec, my mom had a late 70s Olds rocket wagon with third row seat. That's sweet. 9-passenger wagons are awesome. I've got Alec at 30 on the Oldsmobile Rocket. As we put this thing on the timer, here we go. We are live on the timer. 2 minutes left on this. I've got Alec at 30 right now on the Oldsmobile Rocket badge. Like I said, just a tick over 5 inches. So a good size toolbox piece, man cave piece. Or like I said, I think it's late 60s Tornado. If you had a Tornado, you might want to put it back on there. Old School made it tonight. Number 1, there's a special feeling in Oldsmobile. More than a luxury ride, it's a feeling of pride. And you remember that song? I don't remember that song. Old School had a birthday party, but you got on with us. That's good. Alex getting thirsty. Apologize, guys. We get wound up in some of this other stuff. I forget to get you guys hydrated. 30 seconds has passed on the Oldsmobile Rocket badge. And we're coming up on a minute here shortly. Like I said, a little over 5 inches. Studs on the back. Probably not perfectly flat, but pretty flat where you could mount it to something else. And Alec at 30 is my high bidder on the Oldsmobile. 1 minute has now passed. Be thinking about your maximum bid, guys. 1 minute has now passed. As we start the countdown on the Oldsmobile Rocket. A minute 15 has passed. 45 seconds left. And we're coming up on the 90-second mark. 1 minute, 30 seconds has now passed as of right now. So 30 seconds left. If anybody else wants to jump in on this one, I've got Alec at 30 as we come down to the wire on the Oldsmobile Rocket. Sebastian's in at 35. 15 seconds left. I've got Sebastian at 35 as this thing's right down to the wire. 10 seconds left. Sebastian, my high bidder at 35. We're getting right down to the wire. And that will do it. I've got Sebastian at 35. And Alec tried to come back in, but it was just a hair too late on that one. So Alec's not doing too good tonight. Alec's been a rough night so far, 0 for 2, and getting in just at the last second 0 for 2. Like I said, I want to try to do some different stuff and mix some things up. So I'm looking for different things, different ideas, different things I think you guys might think is cool. What year's that emblem from? I think it was 66, 67 Tornado, but I don't remember for sure. Hudson badge. Old School almost got hit by a tree while driving through a storm. That's not a bad plan. That's a terrible plan, actually. You got to stay out of the way of the trees and the storms. Pete, idea for your class, how to tell if badge trim is OEM or Repop, all that kind of stuff we'll get into. As well as how to price things against the reproduction stuff. Reproduction stuff sets the price on a lot of this stuff. Alex says I'm just waiting for the right piece. Well, we may have that coming up because I got a couple cool things coming up. So the reproduction industry is a big part of what we will talk about in the seminar if we build it. So that's great, Tamar. Just give me a shout when you get a second. We'll get it all worked out. But like I said, I want to do different things. I don't want to do just all badges or all oil cans. I've got all kinds of stuff here. So we're going to do something a little bit different tonight or next. How about some toys? Anybody interested in toys? I'm assuming you probably do. Sebastian, reproduction pieces often lower the price of the original stuff. No, actually, Sebastian, in a lot of cases, it makes it go up. And that's something else we'll talk into, depending on quality and price point of the reproduction piece. Zach says those trees jump out in front of you. Yep, that's true. So, no, I didn't see the Charger Dennis Collins found. I did not see that. But I've got some other stuff that I want to try. Like I said, Jason just says he likes all of it. But I got some toys that I picked up. My good friend Tim over in McPherson, Kansas. I bought a lot of toys from Tim over the years. He had some stuff at the swap meet. There were good starter level pieces, not some of those Smith Millers at $500. There's a lot of guys that don't want to swing that, but he has some cool pieces. So I bought several of them from him, and we'll do one or two of them tonight that, are starter level pieces that may have a few issues, but are still super cool. That being said, let's do one of them now. How about a gravel truck? This thing's cool. It's got a few issues, but it's cool. The worst part about it, no grill, no front axle. So that's, definitely an issue. However, number one's at 11, Sebastian's at 10. So we're already going on this thing. Now there's no front axle in it, but when you look at the rear wheels, that's all that they stick out. They really aren't, there really isn't much there for wheels. And there were wooden wheels and just a straight axle. So you could actually put about anything on there, to put wheels under it. The grill, unless you're looking directly at the front of it, you really don't know. The gravel box looks cool. Sand on one side, gravel on the other. It does tip. I've got Lee at 20. I've got Alec at 25. Inside of the bed's really not in terrible shape. The graphics are still cool. I do believe it is the original bed to the truck, the way it's mounted in these slots. It's even got chains painted on it like it actually had a dump gate. Number one at 25. Old School's got it already. Lots of bids. Jess was at 25. Old School number one at 28. Jess is at 30. I've got Jess at 30. Sam, who's the girl behind you? That's Heather Thomas, I think, is who we've decided who that was. But the gravel truck is a neat piece. Definitely, I'm going to say probably late 40s. Big Job says, is it a Hubley? I don't have any idea. This doesn't. No, it's a Marks. It is a Marks. I'm guessing late 40s. That's right. Number one, that exchange rate is killing you. I understand that. Let's see. Lee at 35 and Alec at 35. Lee came in about a half second before Alec at 35. This is a Marks toy. We can see the Marks symbol right here on the side of it. If you guys can make that out. So, neat piece. I'm guessing late 40s, maybe early 50s. Norma says that she's seen that there and almost bought it because she has gravel trucks in her collection. So, Anyway, I've got Alec at 40. Let's get this thing on the timer. Alec at 40 is my high bidder. We are live on the timer. No old school. There is no plastic on this thing. Old school metal. Number one, anybody need a 5051 Mercury Dash almost complete? If anybody needs a Mercury Dash, number one's got one of those. Tradesies. I don't know. The worst part about it would be shipping that Dash to Kansas. That would be brutal. Alec at 40 is my high bidder. 30 seconds has passed. We've got 90 seconds left, a minute and a half to go. The graphics on this bed are cool. It's got like rails on the side of it. I don't even understand what all this stuff is actually supposed to be. But like I said, we looked at the bottom of it. We saw the chains. Like this would have been like an actual lift gate to swing open. Alec at 40 is my high bidder. Yes, the front wheels are missing completely. There is no axle, no wheels on the front, and no grill. 1 minute has now passed. We've got 1 minute left. Be thinking about your maximum bid. I've got Alec at 40 on the sand and gravel Marks toy. One minute, 15 seconds has passed. We've got 45 seconds left. Please remember we have an 8 to 10 second delay on here. So if you're going to bid it, you better jump in now. Now's the time to do it. As we come up on that 90-second mark with 30 seconds left, which means by the time you see this, we're just going to be about done. Alec is my high bidder at 40 on the sand and gravel Marks dump truck. 15 seconds left to go. It may, as Rusty Nell says, it probably hit a toy deer. That could have been what happened. That's exactly what could have happened. 10 seconds left. Alec at 40 is my high bidder. We're getting right down to the end on this one. David W. at 45, and that's it. Woo! David W. got in at 45, and that was at the last second. So, boy, Alec, it isn't your night. So it's no, it's painted gray. It's painted gray. David W. snuck that one in. I don't know how you timed that, David, but that was, you couldn't have gotten any closer. 2 more seconds, and it'd have been too late. So. Chevy swagging. Let's auction off a 455 Pontiac motor. I've got some for sale. I've got extras if you need one. I don't want to auction. I want to raffle one off. But Alex says enjoy. Thanks for being such a good sport, Alec. But I know you're saving up because I've got some stuff coming up that's going to be right up your alley. I can tell you that. So is everybody cool with this stuff? You know, we're mixing it up. I'm doing some different things. Let's do another little can. And then we got a couple of really cool things coming up. Jess likes the mix, so everybody glad everybody's liking the mix. Let's do another can. And then, like I said, I got a couple of things that we're going to be exciting too. This one is a metal mobile transmission sealer and conditioner. It is full. I will drain it unless somebody wants to pay extra shipping to ship them full. Still sealed on the top and the bottom. Good colors. Has a small Peggy on the side. I'm guessing this is probably 70s mobile transmission sealer and conditioner, light blue and white, metal can. Text on the back. I've got Lee at 10 starting us off on this one. Like I said, not a super exciting can, but a nice shape. I think it's probably close to 50 years old. Number one still has the Red Bull in it. I don't think this transmission sealer and conditioner is going to taste probably quite as good as Red Bull. So, what's the price tag on a 455? Depends on what you want. I've got 4 or 5 of them. I got at least 3 or 4 of them left. Depends on which one and how complete. So, Jess is in at 18. Alec came in at 12. I've got Jess at 18 on the mobile transmission sealer and conditioner can. We'll get this thing ready to go on the timer. Let me give you the size real quick on this since it is a little different size. Jason says it'll go down smooth. Yeah, it will. almost 6 inches high, just a tick under 6 inches tall, and about 2 5/8 across the top. So we'll call it just about 2.5 by about 6. Bill Alderman, it'll lube you up. Yes, it will. So about 6 inches high, 2.5 wide. Alec at 20, and we are live on the timer. We've got 2 minutes to go. Lee came in at 20. I already had Alec at 20 on the mobile can. Get this jotted down on my list. Jay says it'd come out a little rough. That's true. So Alec at 20 is my high bidder. We are live on the timer. And 30 seconds has now passed on the mobile can. It is new. It is full. But like I said, I will drain it unless somebody wants to pay for the shipping because of the weight. They're just so much heavier with fluid in them. So, Zach, Red Bull gives I missed it. So, just give me a call on that engine Chevy swanging when we get or tomorrow, so I can go over exactly what we're talking about, what you want. So. 1 minute has now passed. We're right on the 1 minute mark. If you're thinking about jumping in on this one, now's the time. I've got Alec at 20. I had Lee came in at 20 right after Alex. So I just took Alec at 20 right before Lee came in at 20. So 20 is the high bid on this one right now. And we're at 1:15, 45 seconds left. By the time you guys see this, it is definitely time to be thinking about getting your max bid in there. Alec at 20 is my high bidder. We're coming up on that 1.5 point. And 90 seconds has now passed. 30 seconds left. Alec at 20 on the mobile transmission sealer and conditioner can. And we're coming up 15 seconds left. 1:45 has passed. We're just about down to the wire on this one. See if anybody snipes Alec on this one or not. Are we going to get this one to him? So 10 seconds left. Here we go. We're coming down to the end. 5. And that will do it. We've got Alec at this one on for 20. Pete says, I need to stack my monitors. I'm going to get a crick in my neck. Yeah, that's true. Zach came in right after that at 23. So they tried to get you, Alec, but he was a hair late. Zach, Red Bull gives you wings. 50-year-old mobile transmission sealer gives you runs. Yeah, that's probably right. Okay. How about a badge? This is a 40s era Dodge. I think that's what this is. It's a 40s era Dodge. Cool piece. Enamel. A little bit newer than most of our enamel badges, but Rusty Nelson says, I thought Alec was coming to YouTube. So we still got Alec and Zach both duking it out on YouTube. So anyway, on the next badge we've got, this is a cool piece. Really cool Dodge enamel badge. Bill Alderman, we need stinking badges. There we go. Alex starting this one off at 30. This is a 40s era. I think it's late 40s. It is enamel. It does have some chipping in it. It's got some chipping in the red right here. It's got like a blue gargoyle on top of it. It's got a little bit of chipping in the black down here. Bill Alderman at 31 on this one. It is bent a little bit on the edge, so it's not perfectly straight. It is a V'd type badge, so it is not flat. Jess at 35 is my high bidder on the Dodge badge. How tall was this thing? Just a tick over 3 inches by about 1.5 inches. Zach at 40 is my high bidder on the Dodge badge. And we're going to go ahead and throw this thing on the timer with Zach at 40 going right now. Here we go. We are live on the timer. Like I said, a little bit of wonkiness to it. It is not a flat badge. It is a V shape, a few chips, but still good color and a neat piece. I've got Alec and Jess both at 45. Alec came in at 45 right before Jess did. So I've got Alec at 45 on the Dodge right now. As we come up on the 30-second part, 30-second time slot, I guess. Jess is at 48. 30 seconds has passed. We've got 90 seconds left on this one. And I've got Jess at 48. 45 seconds has passed. A close-up, Kenny. There we go. I'll try to get it as close as I can without blurring it so you guys can get a better look at it. Coming up on the 1 minute mark, Alec is at 50 on the Dodge badge. 1 minute has now passed. Be thinking about your maximum bid. I've got Alec at 50 on this Dodge. Please remember we've got that 8 to 10 second delay when things jump up. Is it a shield or does it say Dodge? It does not say Dodge, Pete. This is all it is. It's just the shield. 45 seconds left. Jess at 55 on the Dodge badge. We're coming up on 1:20, coming up on that 90-second mark. Jess at 55 is our high bidder. As we come up on the 90-second mark, 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. We're down to the last 30 seconds. Jess at 55 is my high bidder on the Dodge badge. 20 seconds left. Keep an eye on both formats as we keep going. Yeah, it would be a lot handier to stack these things, but I'll sit back here a little bit. I'll keep holding this up there. 10 seconds left. We're coming down to the end on this one. I've got Jess at 55. 5 seconds left. And that will do it. I've got Jess at 55. So Jess got this one. Way to go, Jess, at 55 on the Dodge badge. And then Alec came right back at 58, but it got 5 seconds too late. So anyway. Oh. All right, let's do something super cool. Super cool. You guys are probably getting thirsty, by the way. Alex says enjoy it, Jess. So appreciate that, Alec. I love everybody being a great sport and everybody playing along on all this stuff and everybody getting along. That's so important. So, and I've got more cool stuff. We'll do some more stuff after this, but this is what I'm really kind of jacked up about that I can't wait to show you guys. Let's do the hubcap or the wheel cover. Hubcap, wheel cover, whatever you're going to call it. I'm jacked about this. I think I've got 2 of them in my collection. Alex is like, let's go get after it. Jason's already bid 25 on it. I ain't even seen it yet. And you'd be perfectly fine at that, Jason. Don't worry about it. Because this thing is so cool. You may not dig these as much as I do. I love them. That's why I've got some in my own personal collection. That's why when I found this one, I was like, this would be a great piece to share with everybody. And it is an awesome wall hanger. It's got some dings. It's got some dents. But everybody will say, wow, that is cool. Jason's ready for it. We'll give you one more Hudson badge, and then we're going to share it with you. Here's the wheel cover that I'm excited about. You guys are all probably getting wah, wah, wah after I show up, but I'm excited about it. This is an original wheel cover for a Lincoln Zephyr. So there it is. I hope you guys are excited about it as I am because I think it's cool. Alex at 40 on it. So there it is. I hope you guys dig it the way I do. It does have some dings and dents. But it is a cool piece. It's not clobbered. Alec at 40, Sebastian at 50. Brian came in at 45, but I got Sebastian at 50. The Lincoln Zephyr is embossed. You can see some dents down here. I'll try to show you some of the damage. It's dented up here. It's got a dent on the L. So I don't want you guys to think this thing is perfect because it's not. Zach just came in at 75 on Facebook and blew everybody out of the water that's coming in on YouTube in the 40s and 50s. So Zach came right out at 75. What year is it? 40s era? I don't know if it's early 40s or late 40s. If Robert's still on with us, he'd be able to tell us right away. Alex at 90 on the Zephyr cap. Buzz with Roadkill's on with us. He came in at 90 as well. I've got Alec at 90 right before that. The back is just your typical old hubcap, dirty, crusty, but it's not. You can see it's still nice and round. It's not clobbered. Buzz is in at 110. It's got, the good dome to it. I didn't even know you were on, Buzz. You just kind of snuck in and started blowing everybody out of the water. But there it is. Super cool piece. I was excited about it. Like I said, I've got 2 in my collection. Definitely some of my favorite caps. But it's a statement piece. I mean, Bill says it's a salad bowl. I want to wash it first, but so let's get this thing on the timer. I've got Buzz at 110. I got Alec at 115 on the Zephyr cap. Here we go. We are live on the timer right now. Mike says that is an excellent wall hanger. It's a great wall hanger. That's why I was so excited to find it, because like I said, I've got 2 and there's no way I'm selling mine. But when I found this, I was like, yeah, you guys would dig this. I got Zach at 120. We are on the timer. We're ticking down. Jason says, I thought families loved each other. I don't see any holes in it, Rusty Nails. I don't see any actual holes. This area here is painted. This one happens to be silver. 30 seconds has passed, by the way. 40 seconds has passed. Robert is on with us. He says this is 3738 Lincoln Zephyr is what Robert, Hubcap Collectors of the U.S. Robert's the man when it comes to wheel covers. He knows it all. Just ask him, and he will answer your question. He don't look it up. He'll answer your question. But Bill Wagman, you don't have family at auctions. 1 minute has passed. Be thinking about your max bids. I've got Zach at 120 on the Zephyr cap, but this is painted. I've got another one that's burgundy in this area. So these are just scratches in the silver paint. This is just some dirt around the edges that, I didn't actually dig out, but these are all just scuffs and scratches in the silver paint. So thanks to Robert, 3738 era on this cap. On the Lincoln Zephyr. We're coming up on the 90-second mark. I've got Zach at 120 as my high bidder. 90 seconds has now passed. We've got 30 seconds left. We're coming down to the wire on this thing. So let's see where we're at. 20 seconds left. If anybody's going to jump in there, now's the time. I've got Zach at 120. 15 seconds left. And here we go. We're down to the wire. 10 seconds left. Sebastian at 130. I've got Sebastian at 130. We're down to the very tip. Right at the end, Pete came in at 125, but I got Sebastian at 130. And Alec came in at 130, but that was too late. I already had Sebastian at 130 on it. You hit it right at 2 minutes, but I already had the 130 bid, Alex. So Sebastian at 130 on the Zephyr cap, and that is such a great piece. Super excited for Sebastian to add that to his collection, because something I personally love. Was excited to find an extra one to sell to you guys. Okay. Sebastian says he cut that close. Yeah, he did cut it close, because Alec was right there at 132. I mean, it would have been just, you both had 130. You were about 5 seconds before him. He hit it at like 159. So if he'd have been 131, he'd have sniped you, but he came in at the exact same thing. Okay. How about another newer badge? This is like an El Camino badge. 68 El Camino is what I've got it marked. For Chivy guys out there, this is like a good ornament, a good display piece. Kind of take things back down a notch here after all the excitement. This is a tailgate badge off of a late 60s El Camino. This is a good display piece. It's got a few pits in it. It's not broke. It would work for a driver, but it's a nice flat badge, stud mounted. So that's what's great about it being a cool display piece. Alex says, enjoy the hubcap. Buzz says, congratulations, Sebastian. Stopped in for a bit. We got to go on the road. Try again. Thanks, Buzz. Glad you made it for a while. X-Ray Dean says, great cap. Alex in on this one for 25. Lee came in at 20. I've got Alec at 25 already on the El Camino tailgate badge. I have it marked 68. That must have been what I took it off of several years ago. But like I said, you can display it as it is. I'm sure this was probably, I'm guessing, red in here. I'm sure the bow tie was blue. but a cool display piece. So Robert says that's a nice collection, nice addition to any collection, Sebastian. Kenny at 26. Let's go ahead and get this on the timer on the El Camino tailgate badge. Like I said, just a nice, cool display piece. Good toolbox piece. Or if you got a car, you can put it on a car, but, you know, good ornamental piece. That's what a lot of this stuff is. Man cave, hang in your bathroom, put it on your toolbox, cool stuff like that. So, and I've got Kenny at 26. That's right, Bill Alderman. Nice toolbox bling, exactly. Alex in at 30 on this badge. As we come up on the 30-second mark right now. 90 seconds left on this one. I've got Alec at 30. So, still even has the nuts on it if you actually did want to mount it on something. The original nuts are even still there. So, nice little piece. Lee's in at 35 as we come up on the 1 minute mark. I've got Lee Carr at 35. And 1 minute has now passed. Be thinking about the max bid if you're going to jump in on this one. I've got Lee at 35 with just under a minute left. Please remember we've got that 8 to 10 second time delay. So be thinking about your max bid at this point. Lee at 35 is our high bidder. 45 seconds left as we come past the 1:15 mark. And we're coming up on that 90-second mark with Lee at 35. 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. We've got 30 seconds left. So by the time you see this, we're going to be right down to the wire. Alec is at 38. What was the badge page you talked about? American Auto emblems, Jason, but it's primarily older stuff, but there's cool stuff on it. Alec at 38. 15 seconds left on this one. Lee's in at 39. I've got Lee at 39. 10 seconds left. As we're coming down to the wire on this one. 5 seconds left. Zach's in at 39. Kenny's at 40. And that will do it. Kenny came right there at the end at 40 on that one. And then Lee came back at 41 right after we got done. Alec came in at 43 right after we got done. Bill's got to bail off, but see you Tuesday because it's his birthday. Perfect. We'll hope to see you then, Bill. So Kenny on the El Camino badge at 40. Let's see. We got cans. We got toys. What else do we want to do? We'll do maybe two more things. Let's do maybe two more things, then we need to get into the magazine. So. I got one more toy. Let's do a toy, and let's do a toy in a can. How about we do a toy in a can yet? Who wants to do another toy truck? Old school's down for toys. Sebastian says good to him. Alex says enjoy the emblem or the badge. Same. I don't care what you call them, Alec. I call them both too, so it doesn't matter. So, and normally you've already seen this toy. If you saw this stuff yesterday, it's another one from the same batch. But this is a cool little stake truck, probably 50s era, on a little Japanese tin toy truck. Check this one out. Has like a stock trailer with it. Slides off of there. This is intact with a grill and everything. It's missing one wheel off the duals on the truck. The trailer has all the wheels, but one of them is broke off. This one's here, but it slides off. So the hub's kind of broke out of that wheel. About the only thing missing that amounts to anything is the rear doors. There are no rear doors on the stock trailer. God Monster started us at 5. I've got Alec at 20 on the little toy tin. This is like a Japanese tin toy. Actually, it was friction drive originally. Not much left in it, but you can see where the friction gear was. It kind of catches, but not very well. This is a Japanese tin. It says Japan right up here under the front. X-Ray, read to us, 25 bucks. X-Ray Dean at 25 bucks. So, neat little piece. Like I said, this is more of it's a starter type piece, not a super high dollar toy. Still has the saddle tanks on the side of the truck. That's kind of cool. Maybe that's the other truck missing the wheel. This one actually came on this trailer. So, X-Ray Dean at 25 on this little Japanese tin stock truck. I'm guessing probably 50s, maybe early 60s. Sebastian, are Japanese more expensive than British or American? I don't really know. I just buy what I like. It's kind of what it amounts to. Alec came back at 27. Pete came in at 35. So Pete at 35 on the little stock trailer and truck is where we're at. David W. says that's cool. Let's go ahead and get the timers ready to go and get this thing going on the 2 minutes. Let's see if there's anything else we need to check out. No interior in this. It's just flat, but it does have the window frames on it. So it has the kind of show the outline of a driveline underneath it. And let's go ahead and give you guys a Hudson badge because you're probably getting a little thirsty. And go ahead and get this thing on the timer. Alec at 37 is my high bidder. So let's go ahead and get it started. Kenny says split front window, probably early 50s. Yeah, since it's kind of a rounded cab and a split windshield, I'd say that could probably be a pretty good guess, Kenny. Alec at 37 is my high bidder on the Japanese tin stake truck. This is all metal with the exception of the wheels. What real life truck does it look like? I don't really know. It's kind of like nothing that resembles anything to me from this era. It does actually still have a hood ornament on it if you guys can check that out. 30 seconds has passed. We've got 90 seconds left on this one. Alec at 37 is my high bidder on the Japanese tin stake truck. No back doors on the trailer. The back is open. David W. says 54 Chevy. Yeah, it does kind of resemble that. I could go with that. You know, obviously the split windshield throws that off, but Lee's in at 40. As we come up on the 1 minute mark, I've got Lee at 40 on the Japanese tin stake truck. Get my notes made here. And Lee at 40. Alex says, looks like an animal carrier. Yeah, I think that's what it was made to look like. It was like a stake truck, you know. But yeah, that's David W. Just generic enough, that's for sure. Billy Bowman jumped on with us on Facebook. Glad you're here. Alec at 45 is my high bidder on the Japanese tin stake truck. Zach's going with early 50 Chevy, 5152 passenger grill. Yeah, you can kind of go for that too, especially with the park lights. 20 seconds left. Alec at 45 is my high bidder as we're coming down to the wire on this. 15 seconds left. I've got Alec at 45. 10 seconds left. Alec at 45 is my high. Pete's in at 51. I've got Pete at 51. 5 seconds left. Pete at 51 is my high bidder. And that will do it. Pete at 51 was my high bidder on the Japanese tin stake truck. And Alec came in, but it was at 48. So Pete went a little higher and beat everybody. So Pete at 51 is our winner on that stake truck. All right, we're gonna do one more little can, then we're gonna get on to the magazine. This is a lot of fun. I love doing these. We have a ton of fun doing this thing. Alex says enjoy the truck for sure. We're going to do a little tiny can. It's kind of cool. It's a little bit different. It is cardboard. We'll wipe it off a little bit. And this will be the last piece for tonight. It's kind of a cute little can, actually. Phillips 66 2-cycle oil. This is a mini cardboard can. It's super cool. I dig it. This thing is 3.5 high. Number one's in at $8 right out of the gate. And about 2 5/8 across the top, not quite 2 3/4. On the Phillips 2-cycle engine oil, actually has a chainsaw, lawnmower, snowmobile boat motor on it. This was a pop top. It is full. Once again, I will drain it from the bottom unless somebody wants to pay to ship the fluid, because it just adds up that much to the price of shipping. Alec at 15 on the Phillips 66 two-cycle can. This is cardboard, probably 70s, maybe early 80s. It is a red and white Phillips logo. It does have the mix scale on the back. So, cute little can. It really is. It's got the big, kind of V shape on the front. Dennis at 16 is my high bidder. Tony's ready for the magazine. Yeah, we're going to get there here real quick. We're going to do this one, and then we're going to get to the magazine. We'll get this on the timer. I've got Dennis at 15 as of right now, as we start this thing ticking down. So we are live on the timer. I've got Dennis at 16. I'm going to make my notes here. As we're ticking down, Dennis at 16 is my high bidder on this. Is a cute little can. And like I said, if you want it shipped full, that's fine, but it's just extra money, so we'll just have to just give me a shout and we can work that out. Alec at 19 on the little mini Phillips can. 30 seconds has passed. 90 seconds left to go. On the mini Phillips, I've got Alec at 19. So, and this will be it for tonight, and then we'll move on to the magazine. Zach's in at 20 on the little Phillips. X-Ray Dean's at 17, but we've already got 20. I got Alec at 22 now on Facebook. 1 minute has passed. Be thinking about your max bid. That saved Pete on the last one. He threw a few extra bucks on it. Even the guys that tried to snipe him were, he was still a little bit ahead of the game. So be thinking about that. I've got Alec at 22. Rusty Nails, it probably cost that much for the oil. Yep, cute little mini can. I've got Old School at 24. Old School's in at 24 on the mini Phillips can. As we come up on the 90-second mark, 1 minute, 30 seconds has passed. Be thinking about your max bids. 24 is the max bid with Old School. 1 minute, 35 seconds has passed. We're coming down to the wire on this one. 20 seconds left, excuse me. 24 is the high bid. Cute, super cool little can. Lee's in at 26 is my high bidder now. 10 seconds left. I've got Lee at 26. As we're getting down to the wire on this one, Zach came in at 26, but I've already got Lee at 26. We're just about down to the end, and that will do it. I've got Lee at 26 on the mini Phillips can. David W. says, great mix of items tonight. Thanks, David. Appreciate it. Alec came in at 29. Zach came in at 27. So it's a lot of snipers, but that's what makes it fun, guys. I really appreciate everybody playing. I really appreciate everybody's sportsmanship in this. We have a ton of fun doing it, and you guys are what make it happen. I love finding stuff to share with you guys. It does a lot of things. It helps cover my time financially for what I put into building this. It adds to your guys' collection. And it's a ton of fun. I love doing it. The Zephyr cap was a ton of fun tonight. Because like I said, that's a piece that I've got some that I kept. A lot of these toys, I've got similar type toys. So I'll try to keep working. Alex said he enjoyed it. And Alec got clobbered a lot tonight, actually. It was kind of a tough night for Alec. Alec just about had it about everything, actually. I think it got clobbered at the end on most of it. So but ton of fun tonight. Thanks, guys. I appreciate the participation. Great time as always. We'll have another batch next week, and we'll try to come up with another cool mix. I'll keep working on that too. Zach said it was a cool mix. And just from the instant feedback we've gotten already, Steve's on, he loves watching. X-Ray says it was fun. I'll keep working on that. I'll keep working on some emblems and some cans and some toys, and I'm not going to guarantee every week I'm going to have all of it, but I'll keep working on that. I'll keep my eyes peeled. So we'll keep working on trying to do that stuff. So yeah, you did get one good can, Alec, at least. You got one good one for sure. But man, I almost feel bad for Alec tonight. Boy, he got clobbered pretty good on all this stuff. To be in there all the way to the end on just pretty much everything. But anyway, so I will work on that, and especially for as much fun as we had tonight, I will definitely keep working on a cool mix. And I've got a pretty cool mix for next week still in the box, believe it or not. But we'll definitely get more in there for next week. Sebastian Phillips 66 Aviation would be cool. I think I've got one of those. Number one says surprise bags with bits and pieces of ephemera for the $5 beginner bidders. That's an idea too. We could do some cheaper paper stuff. That's absolutely not a bad idea at all. Alex says bound to happen. Yeah, except it's bound to happen. I know, Alex, but man, you got clobbered like 6 times tonight. So Bill Alderman says he liked the mix too. So great. I had a blast with you guys on that. I'll keep working on it. I'll keep working on a cool mix because you guys are having fun and I'm having fun, and it's adding to your guys' collection too. So, but tonight, let's get on to the magazine, and we're going to get up into the 70s tonight with an issue of Motor Trend. Zach, you did better than I did. At least you managed to get something. That's true. Yeah, Zach, you didn't get anything. I guess you still got $10 credit for next week. So we'll get that worked in on next week's stuff for you on that, Zach. So just remind me so I don't forget. Don't let me forget that you still got that $10 coming since you paid extra shipping, but it was a can that we'd already drained. Let's see. Number one, Oilers are winning. This chat needs to be every hockey night. Jason says can't win them all. Sebastian got 2 things tonight. So yeah, we had a great time tonight, and it's a lot of fun. But what was going on in January of 1973 in Motor Trend? A lot of Corvette stuff in here, a little bit of Pinto stuff. Well, it says disco. God Monster, the 45. The 45 is a 45 from Sun Records. It's an original one from Sun that I got at Sun Records. Dad had an eye surgery down in Memphis, and the hotel they stayed at, or they put him up in when he had the surgery, was right next to Sun Records. And they flew me down so I could drive him back. And we went over towards Sun Records, so I picked up a 45 while we were there. But anyway, let's get into this Motor Trend and check out some cool stuff. Starting off with, as always, in Motor Trend, depending on what year it is. Sometimes it's the Detroit Report. Sometimes it's the International Report. In this issue, it is called the International Report in the 1973 issue of Motor Trend. And in the International Report, which are the International Report or the Detroit Report, in case you don't remember, are tidbits of information from manufacturers, things that are happening in the world at that point. So Kenny says, good mix, and Alex a good sport. Yep, Alex has been a really good sport, so that's for sure. But anyway, in the International Report, something that was very interesting in the International Report was a short blip on airbags. Now, remember, this is January of 1973. Now, most of us do know that General Motors did have airbags as an option in 75 and 76, I believe. But this is January of 73, studies on airbags. It says the first real-world test of an airbag has proven inconclusive. The bag was fitted in the front passenger position of one of the 204 specially equipped 1972 Mercuries furnished to Allstate Insurance by Ford. It inflated when the car was struck by a truck at 35 to 40 miles per hour. The driver, who was wearing a lap belt, sustained cuts and bruises, but the performance of the bag couldn't be fully assessed since the passenger seat was unoccupied. The car was one of a fleet of 831 airbag-equipped Mercuries, which had accumulated an aggregate of 4 million miles of normal driving, including 20 or 30 minor accidents in which the bags did not fire. Up to the time of this crash, in one of these accidents, the car underran the rear of a moving truck, but the driver and passenger were not injured. So these are very, very early airbag tests on 1972 Mercuries. 204 specially, or 831 total airbag-equipped Mercuries and 72 for testing purposes. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Something else that was kind of interesting in the International Report, next year's Mustang. Remember, this is 1973. We still had the bigger Mustangs. Next year's Mustang, the 1974 Mustang, will be built on the Pinto chassis, which is a small irony, as the current Mustang was originally based on the Falcon chassis. The new body will be different and much smaller than today's Mustang, almost tiny by comparison. Obviously, As we now know, they're talking about the Mustang II, and they have some early renderings of what became the Mustang II in this article. Classic Ride Society from Fort Worth made it tonight. How was the Hutch swap meet? I did not do any content there. It's really a small swap meet. You pretty much would have had to shoot about everything to put a video together there. So I've got some pictures I'll be posting on Facebook, but I did not do any content there because it really is not that huge of an event to really do a lot of good footage on. So there's the artist rendering of the Mustang II. Dad said they had a 74 Delta. Had a customer with a 74 Delta 88 was the first thing he remembered with airbags. So that would have been a production model, would have been a 74 Delta 88. So in 74, they were probably available as an option from General Motors. Pete, those Mustang 2s are going to have to take off soon. They're kind of cool, especially the King Cobra. Yeah, that is true. Those King Cobras were kind of neat little cars. A couple of other things I wanted to catch in the international report, if I can find it. They got a bunch of ads mixed into the international report. The international is about half page everywhere with a bunch of ads. So I wanted to catch one other thing real quick. If I can find it. I don't know what page it's on. Oh, yeah. People who live under glass roofs. We thought the Ford Skyliner was dead and gone forever, maybe to be remembered only by old car buffs, but hope springs eternal. PPG, formerly Pittsburgh Plate Glass, is offering the Sky Vent as an option on Cutlass Salon station wagons, replacing the Vista Cruiser wagon and coupes this year. The laminated skylight props open for added ventilation, but doesn't open all the way like a sunroof. The glass is tinted to block out heat. So this is the beginning of a whole bunch of botched up 70s cars, basically. Because who remembers a nice car that somebody hacked one of these sky vents into and cut a hole right in the middle of the roof clip? Lots of Firebirds, lots of Camaros, lots of this stuff from the 70s got these things cut into the roof. And this was a big deal in January of 73 when they were rolling this out. Rusty just sold his King Cobra and his Mach 1. X-Ray and King Cobras are already expensive if they're worth buying. So something else in January of 73, the, as we now know, almost problem pop-out sky vents, as they called them, that became so popular in the 70s, however, hacked up a lot of really good cars because of it. Now, the cover article, this was kind of interesting, and it's kind of different. The Pinto, the Porsche, and the Pangra. Ever heard of a Pangra? I hadn't until I read this article or looked at this article. What they did is they did a road test on, or a comparison on the Pinto, the Porsche, and the Pangra. The Pangra, what the heck is a Pangra? I didn't know. The Pangra is a modified Mustang 2, a modified Pinto to attempt to make it into a sports car and say, was it comparable to a Porsche of the time? X-Ray, yeah, the first one were actually bubbled too. Yeah, I remember some of those bubbled, sunroofs and side vents too. Can we make a Porsche out of a Pinto and $500 with it? So what they did is they had the base Pinto, the Porsche, and the Pangra. And like you said, the Porsche was originally based off the Volkswagen, so that was kind of their comparison in this article on how they did it. However, what the Pangra was, and this is what I was kind of trying to figure out, but let me find the spot in the article of where this was at. But the Pangra was actually a Pinto that cost about as much as a Porsche did. But was it comparable? They came from Huntington Ford, a dealer in Arcadia, California, who developed this. They called it an ambitious project. The Pinto, the Pangra, and the Porsche. The Pinto, the price was $2,086. The Porsche was $4,199. The Pangra was $4,600. So, if you added everything to it, if you had all these additions to the Pangra Pinto. The Pangra Pinto, you could actually get it with a turbocharger. It had a modified nose. It had wheels. So there were a lot of differences. I'm going to hold this picture up and give you guys a second to study it. But this is the Pangra. This is the modified Pinto. If you look at the nose, that was the biggest visible difference. Obviously, wheels more blacked out, the Porsche and the Pinto. So obviously, today we don't know anything about a Pangra. We don't see a lot of Pangras. So, and considering the Pangra, the modified Pinto was more than the Porsche, probably not a lot of them were sold. But still kind of an interesting piece of history, tidbit of information, obviously. But there again, that's why we look at these old magazines. I'd never heard of a Pangra. I didn't know what it was. Didn't know it was trying to make a Pinto into a Porsche. But that's kind of what they did. Now, the performance was different. Pete says, time to Pangra the Pinto wagon. The Pinto and the Porsche and the Pangra, when you took the base 914 Porsche and the Pinto, fuel economy, the Porsche was 19 to 24, the Pinto was 18 to 22, the Pangra did drop to 16 to 20. However, when you look at the times, the Pangra was dramatically a better performer. 0 to 60, 12.5 on a Porsche 914, 10.5, 10.5 seconds on a 914S, 13.7, 0 to 60 on a regular Pinto. The Pangra was 7.5 seconds, 0 to 60. So definitely a difference there. Quarter mile times, the Porsche 914 was 18.1, the Pinto was 18.7, the Pangra was 15.4. So there was actually a performance difference. They did get performance out of the Pangra. X-Ray Dean says, I do remember seeing a Pangra wagon. So Rusty knows if they were that fast, they were wrecked. So. But there again, that's why we do this. That's why we take these steps back in time. Obviously, the Pangra never took off. But we now know about it. I didn't know about it before. A few of you guys apparently did, but not a lot of you did. So that's why we're taking these steps back in history. That's why we study these old magazines. You never know what you may stumble across someday. X-Ray says he is in California. So since these were sold, from a dealer in California that did these conversions, Arcadia, California, wherever that's at. Obviously, that would have been probably the only place you would have ever seen one. Something else that was really interesting, and there again, remember, we're taking a step back in time to January of 1973. Zach, it didn't take off. It just went up in flames. That's true. These are the earlier Pintos. Those are the ones that had the issues. On your way to an important meeting, you're delayed in expressway traffic. You reach for the phone in your car. Remember, this is January of 73. And they're talking about car phones. Yes, there were car phones in January of 73. Right now, there are a handful of people who actually have pocket-sized personal telephones able to call anywhere in the world. Hundreds more carry 14-pound briefcase phones, and thousands more, just under 80,000 by the FCC count, have telephones in their cars. So there again, 80,000 car phones in 1973. That's right now. And that's literally what they were getting ready to say. But pity the poor guy who never had, for an instant, felt like 007 when he used one. Rusty says 007 had one. Yep. So 80,000 car phones in January of 19, or basically end of 72. This was written November, December of 72. And so I was kind of curious of what they said about it. And it actually has some pictures. I'll hold these up so you can kind of study these. The briefcase phones. Here's a phone mounted in a car. They said these had, they were obviously very expensive for their day. And they had about a 20 to 30 mile radius. Gabriel just made it. You had to be within 20 or 30 miles of a tower at that point, which California was probably one of the few places that had them. And then once you got your signal to the tower, then it basically went back through the regular landline system. The tower was hooked to a regular normal phone line, which could go through an operator and things like that. So that's the way I understand how they did them. Is it was just a as long as you were within reasonable range of the tower, it could pick up the tower, then it would go to the normal phone system and vice versa. Glenn had a phone in his tow truck in 1977. So Mac, stop looking at your phone. Just call her. Yep, that's right. So obviously, to follow up the car phone article, they had a buyer's guide on what really went bonkers in the 70s, the CB radio. Sebastian, I really like the idea of calling people on vintage phones. A whole buyer's guide on CBs. Obviously, in 1973, this thing was really getting going by the late 70s. CB radios were everywhere. Okay, X-Ray Dean. It was $5 a call when wages were not that an hour. So $5 a call. So that tells perfect. Thanks for throwing that in, X-Ray. I appreciate that feedback. That's what's great. You guys have so much knowledge that you can share with everybody else. It was $5 to make a call, and most people didn't make that an hour if that wasn't even a good hourly wage at the time. So that's great information, X-Ray. Thanks for showing that up, throwing that up. But obviously, by the late 70s, CBs were bonkers. We can already see by this buyer's guide there were a ton of good CBs on the market already by January of 1973. Zach, I was born in '83. Can't imagine trying to dial a rotary phone while driving. Yeah, no kidding. One more article that I want to catch, and it was a little bit very interesting, and I hadn't heard anything about this, so I don't want to spend the next hour on it, but I do want to touch on it because I bet that there's some of you guys in here that have heard of this deal. Let's see, Bill. That's a big 10-4, good buddy. That's right. Sebastian wants to get a CB in his car. Number one, let's build a Mach 1 out of a Pinto-sized Mustang 2. Bill, Bill says texting must have been a challenge with a rotary phone. Rusty Nails in 1983 was making $3.35 an hour. Tweedly Dee CD in my dad's pickup back in the 70s. So this next article that I want to touch on, and maybe some of you guys can shine some light on this. I had never heard of it. It was a flash in the pan and the article was called Rocket Man. What if someone threw a spectacle in the middle of the salt flats and 300 people showed up? Obviously, it had Bonneville in there, so it got my attention. X-Ray, that was me with a CB back then, 13 years old, bracing on cops by the side of the road. Jason was 6 in 1983. So this was called Rocket Man. The car was called the Pollution Packer. And this was a weird deal. A Minneapolis manufacturer named Tony Fox is who did this. And he went by the Rocket Man. He announced his formal education ended 2 months into the second grade. And he actually made his fortune making trash compactors. He put this car together, with a rocket engine in it. They call it, and that's why he came up with Rocket Man. Sounds like a heck of a self-promoter. A press release described him as the flamboyant Tony Fox. He just spent $18,000, and this is in 1972 money. He spent $18,000 for hundreds of promotional double knit white polka dot jumpsuits, blazers, hot pants, and women's outfits spotted with his Tony team insignias. 3 T's arranged in the circle of $50, big polka dots. He spent another $69,000 on the rocket car, a 750-pound needle-like speed monster, then kicked in $68,000 to bring his party to the salt flats. So where'd this guy get his money? He manufactures the Pollution Packers, an appliance that, oddly enough, consumes garbage and compresses it. It's a trash compactor. He called it the Pollution Packer. That's what they named the car. And this turned into a huge deal. He literally had buses hauling his buddies out. They shipped 300 people to Salt's Flat, rented all the hotels in Wendover, and just made a party out of it. This is a fairly extensive, fairly long article. And like I said, there's no way to go through it all because it details the party. It's now 4 a.m. It's now 6 a.m., things like that. And they did get the car off. You know, they did make some runs with it, but basically it turned into a big party. And a lot of this stuff, it was kind of weird the way you read into it. Like I said, this was almost confusing. There was so much stuff in it. Bill Alderman, $998 a month in the Army in 83. Mustang 2 made a Mach 1 in 75, says Rusty Nails. Scott on Facebook, only the cool TV guys had car phones, Mannix and Canon. And did Jim Rockford and Rockford Files have one? It seems like I don't remember that show much, but let's see. LSX 35 says Bud Salvage in Oklahoma has a lot of stuff too. I've heard of that place. I've never been there, but like I said, it's a lot of these records that they set were kind of weird records. They would do a time at, the half kilometer and things like that. And say, it's another record. It's another record. So like I said, it sounds like a very interesting article, and it's about 6 or 8 pages in here. We can spend a ton of time on it, but the guy sounds like he was a heck of a showman. If anybody's ever heard of Tony Fox and the Pollution Packer, it was very interesting. But like I said, Kenny Rockford had a Camaro, I believe. No, it was a Firebird. It was a gold Firebird is what they had in Rockford Files. Zach, there's right time Eric Clapton released Rocket Man. I don't remember the Clapton Rocket Man. I know Elton John did a Rocket Man song as well. So yeah, so weird article, weird story. This guy builds this car, spends a ton of money on it, spends $18,000 on wardrobe for these 300 people in his party, and they went out to Bonneville and played with his car. So weird deal. I've never heard a thing about it, but maybe some of you have heard about it and can shed some light on it. But weird article, whole weird story, period. But that's kind of what I had for articles. But let's check out some ads. So kind of weird tonight. You have Pangra Pinto, car phones in 72, and the Rocket Man. I mean, it's a really, really weird mix in the January 73 issue of Motor Trend. But there are great ads, that's for sure. Absolutely no question about that. We're going to start off with another one of these ads that is not automotive related, but I'm sure probably everybody remembers. The Record Club of America, the world's largest and lowest priced record and tape club, free up to 25 stereo LPs or 15 tapes, cartridge or cassette with no obligation to buy anything. Bill Alderman, Camping Salem Smoker. Kenny's never heard of Tony the Fox, the Rocket Man either. But who joined the Record Club of America? Who doesn't remember these ads? I know these went clear up into the 80s because I remember them. But Daniel, there was a Pollution Packer rock car that toured drag strips in the 70s. I bet that was the same deal. I bet that was the same thing. Because it sounds like this guy was such a showman, he'd probably run it anywhere. The next ad we're going to look at, I even wrote this up wrong. I had to cross out my notes because I wrote Cutlass in the notes because that was the picture. I saw the Oldsmobile and I wrote Cutlass, but this doesn't have anything to do with the Cutlass. This is actually an ad explaining GM's new shock bumpers. Shows right here in the little dip. Talks about first you'll like how good it looks, then you'll love how well it works. And it shows the bumper, and then it shows the shocks, how these bumper shocks worked over here in the little blurb on the corner. But a 2-page full-color ad, pretty big deal, just to promote the new shock-absorbing bumpers GM was coming out with. Pete says he joined the record club several times. Alec remembers him because he joined back then as well. Jason, a friend of mine has a Knight Rider kit car. Those are cool, too. Obviously, I'm a big F-body guy, so anything Firebird Camaro, I'm into it. There's the Salem hiker guy with the Salem cigarette ads that Bill caught. Kenny, Rusty knows that's the railroad bumper of Kenny, and you have to replace the shock. Number one, those shocks made the sound of the Flintstones when Fred hit Barney. So. Jason's also got a General Lee. Yeah, Dad's got a General Lee that he built actually in 81. Now, that is like the rocket emblem we just auctioned off. Let's jump up a couple more pages to the Ford pickup ad. I think we've seen this before in some 70s era magazines because I remember this bright green 73 Ford pickup. Obviously, these are now one of the hottest things on the market, the 73 to 79 Ford pickup. bonkers crazy, great pieces. Super excited about it. I've got one. I've got my 78 F250, and they get more popular by the day. People remember these. Probably not the best trucks. Anything back then wasn't great compared to what we've got today, but good trucks for the day and well remembered. Chevy Swang has got to punch out early. He's got to get some bed. Just give me a shout. My number's on the page. Click on this video after it's done. It's in the text, or it's in the text of about any of my videos. My phone number is. So, Zach, those shock bumpers were horrible. I had a 76 Malibu with them. Bill, yes, a lot of Chevy trucks in that color too. Yep, that's for sure. Green was popular. Another full color GM ad that doesn't have anything to do with a vehicle. And once again, for the time, new technology. Rusty Nails wrecked his General Lee in '83. That wasn't a good plan. Hope you got it fixed before now. For what Charger parts cost now. When it's time for new disc brake pads, ours will give you a buzz. This is an ad strictly for disc brakes. Now, we've got to remember disc brakes didn't come out standard on anything until the 65 Corvette. This ad was put together end of 72, so they were talking about technology that was 7 or 8 years old. This talks about the wear indicator, so you would hear the squeal or the whine when your disc brakes got down to the wear indicator. So once again, a full-page color ad on feature technology that GM was putting out to try to sell people on their vehicles. When we get to the center of the magazine, speaking of F-bodies and some of my favorite stuff, the 1973 Firebird Formula and Trans Am, beautiful 2-page centerfold full color ad on the 73 Firebird and Trans Am. Rusty Nails, he's still fixing it, but he's still got it at least. So David W. Studebaker had disc brakes in 63. So yeah, so in 72, there was still, and you got to remember, not everybody bought a new car every year. So a lot of people were still getting familiar with some of that newfangled technology at that point. Bill, disc brakes popular for aviation, partially for the reduced weight compared to drum brakes. And that's where a lot of it came from, was aviation. That's where disc brakes were used more to start with. So, but beautiful full color centerfold on the 73 Trans Am and Formula Firebird. Another off-topic ad, but it was such a great ad. I had to share it with you. Pete, awesome ad. Need that as a poster. Yeah, it is a good ad. This next ad we're going to look at, not car related, but it is so epic we had to check it out. Isn't it nice to know that while you're taking care of her, High Seas is taking care of your face? Yes, High Seas Aftershave. High Seas Aftershave shows a rugged looking dude lost at sea on his raft, trying to take care of his woman. But you've always got High Seas Aftershave to take care of your face. I was like, that just cracked me up. If that ain't 1973, I don't know what is. So absolutely had to share that with you guys. Alec, his brother had 78 and 79 Trans Ams. I'm more of a fan of the 77, 78 nose. I've got a 78. Dad's got a 78. So that's my favorite ones. I've got a Marty Blue 78 that's an original one-owner car I bought from the original family. Dad's got a black 78. So after the High Seas ad, we've got a few more ads we're going to catch and then keep on moving here. But another cool ad, once again, 1973, the redesigned A-body platform for GM. David W. the stash, though. Yeah, that's true. The stash is pretty epic. So, in fact, we'll just look at the stash one more quick time before we get to the next ad. There's the stash. The next ad was obviously the redesigned A-body platform for 73. The Buick Century, priced under $3,700, a full color ad talking about some of the features of the new 1973 Buick Century. Obviously, everything A-body changed in 73. Cutlass, Regal, or what was Skylark went to Regal or Century, and so they all changed in 73 to what's commonly known now as the Colonnade Coupe. But a full color ad advertising the new 73 Century. Bill, Aqua Velva Splash. Yep. Alec is also a fan of the 78 Trans Am, so definitely one of my favorite cars. was really excited to get the one I have. I've had it about 10 years now, but I bought it from the original family. The car was sold new 23 miles from here, and it's been in Great Bend its entire life since July of 78. And I've got the paperwork from July of 78 when they picked it up. So kind of cool. We need to do a video on that car one of these days as well. But while we're in the Pinto mode, we're talking a lot about Pintos tonight. 1973, all's well. Pinto supplies the basics. The rest is still up to you. And they're comparing it to the old days of hot rodding. Whatever happened to the good old days when Ford supplied the basics and you supplied the rest. 1973, all's well. Pinto supplies the basics. The rest is up to you. Literally comparing the Pinto to some of these iconic hot rods back in the day. That actually looks like one of the SoCal Speed Shop car. I'm not sure. But talking about literally customizing and hot rodding your Pinto. So if you couldn't afford a $4,600 Pangra, they still wanted you to customize and hot rod your own Pinto. By the way, if anyone wants to customize and hot rod a Pinto, I've got one for sale. Bill, the LeSabre as well. The full-size 71 to 73 platform was the same. They changed it slightly in 74, but the full-size cars in GM were fairly similar. From 1 to 3 were very similar, and 1 to 6 there were a lot of similarities in all of them. Kenny, fire extinguisher not included. That's true. Bill, that was the marketing push, literally comparing the Pinto to some of the timeless hot rods that were even in that day were timeless hot rods in 72. Zach, I may have a line on a few F-bodies, some Bandit cars have been sitting in a warehouse near me, and a lot of other cars. I'm going to check out the collection sometimes this week. That sounds like it'd be a cool find to go check out. Let's see. Let's flip to the back cover of this thing, and then we'll wrap this magazine up, and then we're going to do a little trivia, and we're going to talk about the raffle and a few other things. Inside the back cover, one more non-automotive ad, but something that definitely we remember from the 70s, and I think this is actually what my grandma and grandpa smoked, if I remember correctly, were cool cigarettes. Cool with a K, because they were cool. They were green, and they were cool cigarettes. Spring, green trees, Rocky Mountains, river flowing, things like that. So cool piece. Rockford drove a Firebird, a Spree, not a Formula. I don't even know if it was a Spree, but it was not a Formula. It was more of a base model Firebird. Rusty, what's the price of yours? If you're talking about my Trans Am, it's not for sale. That's probably a car I'll never sell. Yep, I think my grandma smoked them. Maybe yours did too, Anthony. But the back cover, once again, another full color ad from GM. That Bill just package rolled in the shirt sleeve. Yep. Something else kind of different, 473. Obviously, the Nova had been out there, but really nobody else had any of them. In 73, they all got them. Pontiac had them. They even made the GTO on the Nova type platform in 74. But Buick got the Apollo and Olds got the Omega. So a full color ad on the Olds Omega. Once again, something new body style, new design, something Oldsmobile had not had prior to that for the Olds Omega coming out in 73. So that's what we've got for tonight for the January 1973 issue of Motor Trend. Now that we've looked at it and studied it, we'll take one more look at the front cover and get a little better look at the big color shot of the Pangra, because I don't think we had any color shots of the Pangra before, but there she is in all her glory with the Porsche in the background. So we had a mix in the auction tonight. We had a heck of a mix in Motor Trend tonight, from the Pinto Pangra to the Rocket Man to car phones, the CBs. They were kind of all over the board tonight. Pete says fun mag tonight. Great. Glad you enjoyed it. Like I said, and there again, who knew about the Rocket Man? Who knew about the Pangra? I didn't. That's why we take these looks back in time. We study it. We learn about it. And some of you guys know about some of this stuff and can actually, elaborate on stuff that you remember about maybe seeing something like this, just like actually I remembered seeing a Pangra. So super cool. It's awesome. 191 wants the Pangra wheels. David W., I wonder what the Omega to Nova ratio was. I bet it was pretty heavily weighted in the favor of the Nova, I would guess. Bill Otterman says, I think the Omega was less expensive than the Nova. Anthony says, good job all the way around. Kenny dig the mag. So, like I said, Alex says good info. Zach says awesome magazine again this week. So thanks, guys. I appreciate that. But that's why we do it. It's a look back in time with 2020 hindsight, just like the airbag article. We know today that you've got airbags everywhere. But, back then, it was a totally new deal. So we learn, we experience, we study, we add that knowledge to our brains, and you never know when it may come up. Maybe you never know. Maybe someday they'll start like a car Jeopardy or something. I mean, and then one of you guys can go win like one of those guys that wins like Jeopardy like 2 weeks in a row. So maybe someday there'll be a car Jeopardy and one of you guys will win because we study all these weird old magazines. So, but anyway, that's what we've got for tonight. So glad you guys enjoyed it. We've been the last few magazines. We've been having a lot of fun with them. Classifieds. Were there classifieds? Oh yes, there were. Holy cow, Scott! I'm glad you threw that up there. I did have classifieds. I forgot it. There was one page of classifieds. I didn't want to catch it. Thanks, Scott. I just about missed it because it's only one page. There's not a ton of them, but there were a few things that we did want to definitely bring up in the classifieds. 59 Ford drag wagon, tilt front end, 417 cubic inch, 12.8 to 1 compression, 4-speed, Edelbrock, Holly Scheifer Hurst Zoom equipment, turnkey 59 Ford drag car station wagon, $1,700, and it's actually got a picture of it. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it or not. They're not very good pictures, but I'll try to hold them up there where you can kind of see it. Glenn's digging the show tonight. Glad you enjoy it. Fastback Packard features pre-Nader Pelican hood ornament, which that era Packard had a big hood ornament with big wings. They specifically listed as a pre-Nader Pelican hood ornament since Ralph Nader was after anything, hood ornaments being one of them, because it could impale a pedestrian. 8 cylinders inline the way nature intended. New tires, runs great. Depreciation free, $450. Roger's on with us. What else did we have? Transylvania Taxi, mortuary black, 1951 Pontiac hearse with ghoul blue interior, full shades, has 35,000 to the edge of town miles, and it specifically lists 35,000 to the edge of town miles. Scare up for $711. And it's got a picture of that as well. I don't know if you guys are going to be able to make it out, but there it is. It is a big, full 4-door 51 Pontiac hearse in the classifieds this month. David W. I always wonder if some of those cars still survive. Yeah, some of them very well could. Let's see what else in here was kind of. Oh, here's another interesting. No picture on this one, but definitely one we wanted to bring up. Ex-Miss Shelby decided to sell my girlfriend's 67 Shelby GT500 and keep mine. Twin Hollies, so it was a dual quad car. Original mags, dark blue, black interior. $2,300 for a 67 GT500 with dual quads. $2,300. That $2,300 might buy one original Shelby carb at this point. So, thought that was another good one to check out as well. Bill says dead deal on that one. Yeah, Brian says Nader was a pain in everybody's butt. That's right. Kenny says it only hauled 50 bodies. So anyway, that was a couple of the definitely interesting ads that popped up. 58 Porsche 1600S sell for $2,400. Let's see what else is interesting. Not much. Some of these other ones are kind of common stuff. Nothing too super exciting, but the 67 GT500 for $2,300 was kind of bonkers. So thanks, Scott. I appreciate you throwing it up there because I almost forgot about classifieds. I actually did forget about classifieds. I just skipped right over it, kept right on boogieing. So thanks for throwing that out there, Scott. J. Merck has a 56 Ford ambulance. That's cool. Dad actually has a 51 Pontiac ambulance. That's a short wheelbase, not the full 4-door like that one. I don't know if we can see it in here, but where this car is an extended car and it's got the center door on it and it's very long, Dad's actually got a 51 Pontiac ambulance that is short wheelbase, which is basically a sedan delivery. It's the exact same body as a Pontiac sedan delivery. except it had windows in it. And he actually had built that car twice. He built it once right after high school, sold it in the mid-'70s. It disappeared for years, found it about 15 years ago, and took it. Actually, the car was in service. The car was put in service in Russell, Kansas in 1951, which is where Dad was born, was in Russell. So the car was in service while he was a kid in Russell as an ambulance. The people that own the ambulance service also own the appliance service. They used it for an appliance repair wagon throughout the 60s. He bought it, built it right after high school, sold it in the 70s, found it again in Phoenix, I think, about 15 years ago, had it shipped back, took it back to Russell, Kansas, to our good friend Mike Shook at Auto Artistry, and they built the car again in Russell, Kansas. So we need to do a video on that one of these days, too. It's a great story. But we definitely got to get that. I don't think it's not haunted. So, and I don't know if Jay Merck's 56 Ford's ambulance is haunted or not. So, no, Scott, thanks to you for reminding me because I forgot about it. I spaced it out. It's glad thing you guys catch me. Bill says Munstermobile. But time for a little trivia and a few more things, and then we'll get stuff wrapped up here for tonight. Trivia. And like I said, we're going to put this on a timer. I put it on a timer for the simple fact that I don't want to have people just sitting here for 5 minutes while everybody is going through videos looking for the answers. So we do put this on a timer. If nobody gets it, we just move the prize till next week. Tonight's prize, another one that Dalton from Pole Barn Garage brought us, a metal can of windshield washer solvent. Zach, haunted or not, I'd still drive it. So, pre-mixed Prestone windshield washer antifreeze and cleaner. This is a full can, so I will drain this unless whoever wins wants to pay extra for shipping because it's heavy. All metal, 1 quart. The instructions on back, has the seam on it. On the Prestone windshield washer can, courtesy of Dalton with Pole Barn Garage and the Holy Goat and the soon-to-be Rolled Runner. Jay Merck, his 56 Ford ambulance is based off the Country sedan and also has an amble wagon with a 56 Ford trim as well, which was a station wagon with set up as an ambulance. I've got a 65 Plymouth that is an amble wagon. So, anyway, let's get the timer ready because after I finish the question, I'm going to put this on the timer. You're going to have 90 seconds to answer it just so we're not sitting here for 5 minutes as people go through videos. But somebody's probably going to remember this right away or nobody's going to get it because it's kind of a tricky one. But on Toy Tuesday, we looked at one of my new favorite pieces from the Cannonball Run, the Transcon Medevac, brand new carded Transcon Medevac van. What store sold that originally? We're on 90 seconds. There was an old department store, discount store, whatever you want to call them, that sold that originally. What was it? I'm keeping an eye on both formats for the correct answer to see if that stuck with anybody because it still had the price tag on it. And we've got a few answers coming in, but nothing's right yet. You guys are in there. Lee got it first, TG and Y. Lee got it, and then Bill came in right after that, but we had Lee first at TGNY. So, yep. So some of you guys were paying attention. Bill came in right after that. Pete came in right after that. So Lee is our guy tonight on trivia. TGNY was where that was sold at. Obviously, if you got Toy Tuesday, Jason just says, I had no clue. Froze up on Norma there for a second. But like I said, I was pretty geeked about that with the story. Jason said he did pay attention. Obviously, with the story with the Transcon Medevac being what Hal Needham and Brock Yates actually ran in the Cannonball and then used that in the movie. So I was geeked about that piece. So anyway, Lee, just let me know what you want to do that on you. If you want to ship them full, I think you usually want them drained because it doesn't really matter. So Rusty was a manager of KB Toys. So Bill used to play in their toy aisle. So thanks for playing, everybody. Had a lot of fun with that as well. Thanks to Pole Barn Garage and Dalton for bringing me a box of cans to share with you guys for the trivia prizes. Okay, Lee says go ahead and drain it. Perfect. Will do, Lee. But Jason was fascinated by the story. The story is great. especially if you didn't know that, but you were a fan of Cannonball Run. Like I talked about the other night, get the book Stuntman and read it. It's great. Hal Needham's story, Stuntman. The guy was nuts. The guy lived life large, really large. You know, they made money in movies, and he literally was a stuntman. He was in the service. He started doing Hollywood stunts, and then, you know, that's when he started making movies. They came up with Smokey and the Bandit, obviously Bonkers, and just went from there to Stroker Ace, to Hooper, to the Cannonball Runs. The guy made a ton of money, and he lived life to the fullest. The guy in the NASCAR teams, they'd fly into the races in choppers. You know, I mean, just great story, a fascinating story. So, Kenny, I saw the vid, but obviously didn't pay attention. Alec, where's Gray Kitty at? She is actually up on top of the fridge, zonked out. Gray Kitty. Gray Kitty. Gray Kitty. Yeah, we're talking about you. She just opened her eyes the third time I hollered at her. So, and I really don't think she cares. She looks pretty comfortable. Kenny dug the story too. Bill Alderman, Cannonball Run is a classic. You got to watch. Absolutely. That's why I was geeked to get a carded Transcon Medevac. I think we've got the Ferrari carded, but Transcon Medevac carded, that's kind of like it. You know, maybe the Lamborghini would be close. You know, the Rolls Royce, some of those other ones, the Sheik's Rolls Royce, they had a Hot Wheel of it, or whoever made Ertl, I think, made them. But carded Transcon Medevac, I was pretty geeked about it. But anyway, raffle, June 5th, we're going to give away this. Anthony says Toronto to Florida this year. This Atlantic Imperial pump plate. I think this is 60s era. It is aluminum, I believe, embossed. The Atlantic is a sticker, probably because you could change. I mean, I would imagine they may have had like an Atlantic Ethel or something like that where you could change the sticker. The Imperial is embossed. Those ribs are embossed. Peaks on the top, peak on the bottom. Definitely looks like a shield. Cool piece. That is going to go out in the raffle this month. Now, second prize for this month's raffle, mobile upper lube can with a great Pegasus on it. A little bit of fading, but definitely a cool Pegasus on this mobile upper lube. 10 people, we're going to pull 3 names. 20 people, we're going to pull 4 names. So, as of right now, who is in? If you think you have paid me, but you're not in at this point, let me know so I make sure I get you in on the raffle. Old School says he's got that can. But Norma is in. Kenny Peterson is in. David Woodcocks. Zach Thompson. Every time Zach buys something, he just keeps tacking on for the raffle. So he's serious. Dennis Chapman, Alec Blanchett, and my dad is in, Steve Ehrlich. So those are all in as of right now. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We've got 7 people in as of right now. David W's got his hand up. He's in. So if you think you've paid me, but I didn't just read your name off, get with me to make sure we get it straightened out. If not, you still got 2 weeks to get in. You've still got time to throw them in the mail and get it here in time. Or obviously PayPal friends and family. You can do that. Some people send checks in the mail. Some people throw 10 or 20 bucks in cash in the mail, says his for the raffle. Tweedledee D needs to get in. Like I said, just make sure whatever you do, put a note on there so I know what it's for. I get payments every single day. I still get checks about every day. I get PayPals. So make sure you put on their raffle. If it's something for the auction, make sure you put it in for its auction. Because I don't know if you just send me money. I don't know if it's for a taillight you called me about, for an auction piece, or for the raffle. So make sure you put something on there. Make sure your contact information is on there as well. And if it's that way, I know, for sure what it's for when it gets to me. So just make sure that information is on there. And I would imagine with 7 people already in 2 weeks to go, we're going to be pulling at least 3 names out of the big Buick oil can for the raffle this month on June 5th. Now, speaking of the raffle, I've got next month picked out too, and it's epic. It's a great piece. It's not a sign. It's a car part. But it's a car part you can hang anywhere. And anybody, you can hang it anywhere. And people are going to say that's cool. So that's right, Billy. William, that's a good point. It has been a while since we did that. We got in the magazine and kind of forgot about it. Apologize about that, guys. I know you guys are getting thirsty. So cool stuff coming up this month. Cool stuff coming up next month. And I always keep my eyes peeled for something that's going to be neat and cool that you guys are going to dig. So obviously, just like the variety that we had in the auction pieces tonight, that's what I'm going to kind of try to keep doing to make sure we get something super cool that you guys are going to be excited about, because that's the whole point. We're having fun. And that's what's great about you guys. Even the guys that get beat out and get sniped in the auction, nobody's getting upset about it or anything. So it's been great. Well, I better get a few more of these squeezed in for you. So. No, it's not going to be a whole car. I can tell you that. It's not going to be a whole car. But I'm not going to tell anybody until not for 2 weeks. 2 weeks, June 5th. What else is coming up? What else is going on? New inventory this week. The only actual car that came in, I picked up more parts this week. Oh, speaking of which, my buddy's place I've been buying all this stuff from, I was out there again. Anthony, I'm good luck for the Oilers. They're up 4-0. Okay, whatever. There's something going on with hockey. I don't have any idea, but Zach says put his extra $10 into the raffle. Okay, we can do that. So we'll add Zach in there 10 more times for the raffle. I'll make a note of that. But anyway, my buddy's place I've been buying all these parts from, and went out there to get a load of parts the other day, and he had more stuff drug out. And he had emblems and badges drug out. I've probably got, 200, 300. I don't know, whole table full of them. And the table couldn't even hold them all. There was still stuff in the boxes. So we've got cool emblems coming. There's even a few early enamel badges like we've been doing from the 20s and 30s. There's a handful of those. But there are tons and tons of super cool badges. I mean, there's a sample smattering. This is not even a fourth of the table. And that doesn't even include what was in the boxes that didn't even make it out on the table. So we've got some cool stuff coming there. I did do a video on that stuff. There's hood ornaments. A few more cans. We've already talked about the cans I've got coming. Some awesome display pieces. Maybe we'll raffle off that GMC parts counter sign. I don't know. We got some neat stuff. Number 168 XR7 badge. I have no idea. Like I said, this table's 5 feet long and 2 feet wide. They were almost stacked on top of each other, and there wasn't enough room to get them all on there. So we definitely got some cool emblems coming on that deal. So, and I did do a video out there as well. So we will, you'll get a sampling of that probably sometime this week but man, there's some cool stuff there. I'm excited about it. But as far as vehicles this week, the only thing that came in was, like we talked about before, our friend Steve come out and picked up that 64 Bonneville. He brought me a 1975 Cutlass 442 that he traded in on the Bonneville. So, a little rough around the edges, but it's a parts car, and I knew that. The header panels broke on it, some things like that. But, neat to find an actual 442. So huge shout out to Steve for bringing that up and doing some trading with me on the Bonneville that he needs some parts for one of his Pontiacs. So we'll be bringing you a video on the 75 442 here very soon as well. Speaking of videos, what's coming up? Man, I got a lot of stuff to share with you guys. Obviously, the video from my buddy's place where I bought all those emblems, I shot that the other day. Still have got to get the Y job video finished up. I got to share that with you because that was so epic seeing the Y job, the Pegasus, the Mako Shark. That was so great. William and his 74 four-door Nova advertising. I know there's nothing in this stuff. There was only a few pieces, but they were good pieces. I'd have to keep my eyes peeled if I've got anything else. So, but I got to get the Y job video done. Legend badge. But I've got a video on the Ford Elite we need to show you. A video on the Torino Squire I need to show you. 71 Mustang, 66 Mustang. Man, there's a lot of stuff we need to share with you guys on stuff that's coming in. It's just been kind of wild and woolly and crazy, but that's what's coming up. So anyway, with that pretty much wraps up what I've got. Mike's got to bail off. Glad you were here. Let's see. Number one, I don't think Chevy ever marketed the 4-door Nova. Well, I don't know. Was there in the Omega ad? Yeah, there's a 4-door in the Omega ad. So they had a 4-door in the Omega ad. So I'm sure they had some 4-doors in some of the other advertising. But with that pretty much wraps me up for tonight. We will start winding down, which always takes a little time. You guys always have some cool comments and stuff we need to address at the end. So as always, I appreciate you guys jumping on with me. I appreciate you spending basically your whole Sunday evening with me. We've got an awesome group here that it really makes this a ton of fun. That's what's great about it. But that's right. Yeah, Brian's wanting to see the 66 Caprice. I haven't even been back to see the 66 Caprice. I've got to do a video on the 66 Caprice, and I got to get the car out of the guy's garage. Fortunately, he hasn't been pestering me about it. But yes, I do still have to pull that 66 Caprice out of that guy's garage so we can share that with you as well. Tweedledee Nova 3 on the tree. Pete, great show. Have a great week. Gabriel, thanks for all we do. Alec, is most of your stuff local? Yeah, most of the stuff I get is within an hour or two of me. I usually don't go extremely far. I've gone further, but typically that's what most of it is. Jason says, definitely not a waste. Glenn says, good night. Bill, fantastic Sunday evening. Thanks to all the Nobody folks. See you Tuesday. Zach, great show tonight. Stories alone are worth tuning in. So sounds great. Scott says, great show. Anthony, night, everybody. My life was a little empty today without Meekum to not drink with. So that's what we're here for. Old school says tonight. David W., weren't we going to blow something up? I've got some videos of blowing some stuff up. We ought to do. But to have much square body Chevy stuff, a little bit. Just depends on, there's so many different square body Chevys that just depends on what you need. Norma says, great show. See everybody Tuesday. Dan, another great one. It's like we're caught up on Facebook. William, 74, 350 crate, 455, 400 Trans Nova. Lisa's, have a good night. As always, you guys on your payments, whatever works for you. PayPal, friends and family. Western Union, check, money order, cash, any of that stuff works with me. And we'll start shipping stuff out as soon as the payments come through on whatever works for you guys. I've got everything jotted down on my auction notepad, so we should be good to go. We've got a lot more cool stuff for next week for the auction. I will add to that box as we go. Every time I see something cool, I throw it in it so that we're in good shape and ready for another fun night. So Kenny says, thanks, Money, coming at you for the stuff he got. Good night to everybody. So let's see. What do we got coming up Tuesday? Signs from Lawrence Swap Meet. I've got signs from the Lawrence Swap Meet for Tuesday night, plus a couple of cans. We'll probably do it all. We'll see how much stuff I've got. We may end up doing splitting it, but we'll definitely have some signs and cans probably from the Lawrence Swap Meet. We'll probably do all of them that night, I'm guessing. That's right. No kidding. It goes really long, Brian. And you guys still hang on there with me. We're going close to 3 hours, which is crazy. Gabriel, this is also good therapy for me as well. That's great. Super appreciate that. That's awesome that you guys enjoy it that much, that you can hang out with all of us and relax. That's super important. We'll give you another Hudson badge. And so, like I said, I don't know what we're going to get up this week. The Squire, the Elite, the Mustangs, the Y Job, the parts. Just a crazy amount of stuff going on. But we're definitely going to get you some cool videos out. We're definitely going to do some cool stuff on Toy Tuesday. And we're going to give this sign away in 2 weeks. Thanks to all you guys for hanging out on here and doing what you do to make this great, because it's all of your participation and your input that really builds this to what it is. Like I tell you guys every week, me sitting here in front of my webcams and my computers doesn't make a show. Your guys' participation, your knowledge, and your willingness to share that knowledge, your participation in the auctions, the trivia, watching the videos, That's what makes it fun. William needs a center sticker for the 74 Nova on the grill. I thought that had an emblem on it. So I'm not sure on that. I don't have any, so I don't know for sure. Bill says it's time well spent. So, Jason, I remember when starting watching the show, it was only about an hour. Yeah, I know. And that's, and that's great that you guys are still here. It's because of you. Your participation is what makes this long, which is fine. We're on here. We're having a good time. If it drags out, it drags out. And you guys are still here hanging out. So, close to 40 people still on here at this point. So that's crazy. Like I said, tell your friends, invite them to come over, hang out. We'll have a great time. That being said, I'm going to wrap up. Like I said, stay tuned for more cool videos coming up this week. Stay tuned. We'll have some signs and probably some cans for Toy Tuesday from the Lawrence swap meet. I don't think I bought any signs. I didn't buy any signs at Hutch this week. So we'll get to that Tuesday night. Some more videos Wednesday and Thursday. And then definitely next Sunday night, be back here at the same bat time, same bat channel. 7 o'clock Central Standard Time, Sunday evening for Sunday night live chat. We've got an awesome group. We're having a ton of fun, and I hope you guys all come back next week. And let's see, Glenn, I think I started watching it at 3. So Jason's out on the road. Zach, it's becoming a Sunday night ritual for him, and that's great. Thanks for being here, everybody. Thanks for making this what it is. Thanks for building this up. Thanks for bringing your friends in. And hopefully expanding this a little bit more and having a little bit better of a group. Definitely looking forward to your feedback on the membership portal on getting into the nuts and bolts of what I do as well. So thanks for watching, everybody. If we don't see you before on Tuesday night, we'll definitely see you next Sunday night back here, 7 o'clock for Sunday night live chat. And we'll do some more cool stuff next week. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you spending your evening with me. Everybody have a good week. Hope you had a great weekend. Alec, yeah, me too. This is where I'm expected to be per his wife. So Alec's wife expects him to be here with us now at 7 o'clock on Sunday nights. That being said, thanks to all of you. We'll see you Tuesday. If not, we'll see you next Sunday night. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you all later.